my opinion and carry Annie.
Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey everybody, welcome and happy Wednesday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where we basically talk about all things going on in the latest pop culture, hot topics, all that good stuff. So, if that is the show for you, definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including we got some sad news regarding James Van Beek. We got to get into that. The rating for Screen 7 came out and all the things of why they chose the rating that they always choose, but we'll get into that. We have some good news revolving around this Mummy reboot with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz because they are coming back for the new film. So we'll talk about that. Plus, Mike Flanagan, for some godforsaken reason, is remaking The Mist, which I'm like, that was like one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations. Why are we remaking it? We'll see. Then we got to get into this Bad Bunny stuff. So there was a lot of stuff that was coming out, 3 days later. People are still unpacking a lot of the Easter eggs and all the cultural references that was in there. And we got the haters. We're gonna talk. We got the Megyn Kelly rant and people dragging her over her stupid rant. Plus, Jill Zarin from the formerly of the Housewives came out and was being messy and said some racist stuff. She ended up getting fired from an upcoming reality show that she was supposed to be a part of, and she's shocked. So we'll get into that. And she has somebody who's another housewife that came to her defense. So we're gonna get into all of that. Plus, we have some good positive things about the whole Bad Bunny thing on what the jersey and all the symbolism on that meant and that sort of thing. So we got a lot to unpack with all of that. So, including House Republicans looking into investigating Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime performance because apparently they can't take all the twerking and the grinding and all the pelvic thrust that was going on up in there. So we got to break all that down. Plus, oh yeah. Oh. So Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni was in New York today, right? At court ahead of their legal showdown, which I believe is supposed to kick off next month. So we'll break that down. Plus, Kanye has been banned from touring in the United States. Speaking of tours, Demi Lovato canceled a couple of dates on her tour because she said she got to protect her mental health. Why am I side eyeing this thinking I'm calling BS on it? So we'll break that down. Plus, we got some news on Britney selling her iconic music catalog. Alyssa Farah Griffin is now a mother, so we'll get into that because they announced it on The View today. Chappelle La Rowana, as I like to call Chapel Rowan, and Orville Peck apparently are part of this agency, this talent agency. Well, apparently the head of the agency was found in the Epstein files, so them and a bunch of other celebrities have abandoned ship over there at that agency. We'll get into that. Plus, we got some good news regarding heated rivalry and the ratings post, the show being on the air. Kim Petras has a new single out, but you wouldn't know it because they wouldn't put it on Apple Music and Spotify. So we'll get into that. Plus, we got to get into T.S. Madison's restraining order against the DL Whisperer. I don't know if you ever heard of that queen, but that thirsty for attention, hot ass mess, done got fucked around and found out by messing with the TS. So we'll get into that. And plus, we got to talk about this drama that Trump, his latest little stunt regarding pulling down the pride flag over at the iconic Stonewall Inn, because in that area we do have the pride flag up, and now they over there trying to erase history. Bad enough y'all tried to do it with the blacks and the Latinos. Now they moved on to the gays. So we'll get into that and a whole lot more. So before we get into all these topics, if you please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash that notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. We also have memberships, so if you want to become a member, you can definitely do that. But if not, you definitely, if you hit that like and that subscribe and the notification, it definitely helps with the algorithm and pushes the show out for more eyes to get on this messy ass show. So, let me see who's in the building. Oh, you say you sent me an email. Hold on. Oh, you said, oh, KR Stars in here. Yes, Feliz miércoles. Yeah, I learned my Spanish, honey. Wait, hold on. So now I gotta go and look at my email. I mean, look, we already oversaturated, so I don't know if I could squeeze some. Oh, Jesus, I got way too many emails up in here. So this is why you gotta check your stuff. Uh, Are you talking about Spotify shares picks for classic pop albums of the streaming era? Um, We'll look into that. I'm gonna do a little research on that, and we'll have to save that for the next show, which will be Friday. So we'll just have to save it for that. But yeah, we got an action-packed show today. So I'm gonna just focus on these because I think we got 19 topics, which is a lot. I think it's probably more than usual over here. Um, don't use TikTok or Twitter, so I have a way of contacting you. Thank you for checking though. Oh yeah, I don't have TikTok. Wait, you're not on Twitter anymore either? You said you don't use TikTok or Twitter. Oh, but yeah, I see that's in there, but yeah, I deleted TikTok, and sometimes I be like, damn, I wish I didn't delete it because there be certain things I be wanting to pull from, and that's the only reason why I was keeping Twitter before, which is why I'm going to be referencing two clips from there. But um, because of what TikTok has literally become since the Ellisons took over, I'm like, no, I can't. But anyway, let's move on. Let me hit my banner. And let's get into topic number one. So I got to bring you guys some sad news because unfortunately we lost James Van Der Beek. He passed away peacefully at his home earlier today. It was announced over on his Instagram. So hold on as I pull that up for y'all. That was a sad hit, and then we'll read some of the comments because Sarah Michelle Gellar actually threw something up in there too. So James Van Der Beek, who y'all know, was best known for playing beloved teen heartthrob at the center of the late '90s and the early aughts. You know, Dawson's Creek. Some people know the gay porn Dawson's Crack, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Apparently, he died following a battle with colorectal cancer. He was 48. Now, the actor best known for his role in Dawson's Creek and Varsity Blues, another movie I actually love, by the way, him and Scott Conn. I love them in that film. They even did a parody of that in what was that? Not Another Teen movie. And so they said died after a journey with stage 3 colorectal cancer. His wife Kimberly Van Der Beek announced the news on Instagram, saying, "Our beloved James Van Der Beek passed peacefully this morning. He met his final days with courage, faith, and grace. There is much more." To share regarding his wishes, love for humanity, and the sacredness of time. Those days will come. For now, we ask for peaceful privacy as we grieve, our loving husband, father, son, there's going to say in the Holy Spirit, brother and friend. Now, Van Der Beek, who shares 6 kids with Kimberly, daughters Olivia, Annabelle, Amelia, and Gwendolyn, and sons Joshua and Jeremiah. Why is with all these names and the amount of kids he got is giving very much Bug Hall? You know, did y'all hear the story about Bug Hall? Remember him? He played Alfalfa in the Little Rascal movie. Well, apparently he started this little thing where he's trying to build his home from scratch. The kids is being homeschooled and all other stuff. Like it's giving very like you trying to build your own little commune or very Amish. I'm just saying with the names. But anyway, so this says this is what, like in 2024, I believe is when he revealed his diagnosis. He said that there was an issue that he was having with his bowel movements, and he thought maybe he had to get rid of like creamer and change his coffee or some of his diet or whatever. And so he changed it up a little bit. And then he was just like, it wasn't working. So he was like, okay, now I need to take myself to the doctor. And then when he went to the doctor to get a colonoscopy, that's when he realized that, oh, it was something crazy. It was the big C. So and then he also said that's when his life certainly changed. He says, I'm very healthy. I was in amazing cardiovascular shape. I tried to eat healthy as much as I could, as far as I knew at the time, though I've since learned a lot about what actually eating healthy is. And this is why I guess when you're an actor in the industry and you know you on that whole Hollywood situation, that she foo ness of Hollywood, that's when I guess you got to hire a nutritionist. You got to get all those people that really show you how to properly eat the right things. And then he said, although he noted that it was a full-time job to have cancer, from doctor's appointments, dealing with insurance, and cataloging results, Van Der Beek said that one of his hardest parts was simply sharing the news. And he said it took a lot of energy to basically tell people um, what was going on with him, because he says, I'm an empath. I like to take care of everybody. I'm a provider. And especially at that point, I was trying to be Superman and be all things to all people and be a dad and a provider. And so to have to tell people and my father and my siblings and my kids, it was really tricky. Still, the supportive responses he received was overwhelming. And he said it was amazing. I've never the person who asked for any help ever. It's not my DNA. And I thought that was a fine way to be until cancer. The way Friends showed up was such a beautiful experience. I would never have otherwise seen how much people care about me. Because it's like, yeah, when you're someone who's always trying to when you're an extrovert and you're someone who's always trying to do for people, I guess maybe it's that fear of who knows, maybe that stems from because I tend to be like that too. I will put others and I'll go about my way to help other people, but then I realize maybe that's a coping mechanism because you don't want to deal with, oh, if you ask people for help, then you may get rejected. Because many of times that has happened with me, and I feel like that could also be a Virgo thing because we don't like to ask for help. And it's just like, yeah, we rather do it ourselves because if I do ask for help, it's like you're not doing it the way it needs to be done, and it's like I'd rather do it myself. So, it said that also it marked his first interview after missing a Dawson's Creek cast reunion event due to illness in September. The actor was unable to attend the event after coming down with a stomach virus, but he appeared via video and a pre-recorded message to fans. So yeah, I did see that. I haven't checked the internet since then to see if the cast had said anything. But hold on, let me refresh his Instagram and see. Okay, so AO Robin Banks. Oh, I know who Robin Banks is. It's on my heart, my God, James. I don't know if you know how much joy you brought to people who you don't even know. Thank you for all. Robin Banks. Is actually a drag queen who I've known for a while, and we the last time we saw each other in person was at the drag race red carpet. I didn't even recognize her. She was in drag the second year. The first year she was in boy drag. Second year she was in drag. But anyway, so it's like, yeah, what people I guess is that James Vanderbeek was a prominent part in all of our childhoods, whatever. Like, I grew up watching Dawson's Creek. It was one of the shows, I was very much into the WBCW, that I was a WBCW kid. So I was watching a lot of that stuff on there. So Robert Banks says something to Haley Sahar, who y'all remember was on Pose, sent some heart emojis. Juju B also sent heart emojis. Doe Queen Thieves, if y'all not following her, y'all don't know what y'all missing. She be cracking me up. She's a comedian and always be reading a lot of these politicians, a lot of people that be saying dumb shit. Rose from Drag Race, also, who I just saw that, who I also, damn, I can't talk, who I also recently saw at the Drag Race premiere. Sent a heart emoji. Freddie Skylar sings. I don't know that. Sarah Michelle Gellar said, I'm so sad for your beautiful family. While James' legacy will always live on, this is a huge loss to not just your family, but to the world. F cancer. Um, I sent a condolences. Taylor Lautner said a tremendous man. Um, yeah, so there's a couple of celebrities in here. I was trying to see if Selma Blair was in here. So there is only love, and James was so much grace and strength, as are you. Rachel Zoe had a comment, Aubrey Marcus, Tori Wilson, Petra Murgatroyd. Peter Murgatroyd. Isn't she from Dancing with the Stars? Yeah, I don't see any of the cat. I haven't seen if Joshua Jackson or Katie Holmes or any of them have said anything because I haven't checked social media, but I'll definitely have to do a little scrollation and see if they said anything, because I haven't been able to check social media because I've been so busy putting this show together. I haven't had time to like keep up with what's going on. But yeah, so like I said, James Vanderbeek was a prominent part in a lot of our lives, especially if you were someone who watched a lot of television or you watched movies like Varsity Blues and some of the other films that he was in. And yeah, so he will definitely be missed. And shout out to the Vanderbeek family, condolences and all that good stuff. So another sad day in Hollywood is like first we lost Catherine O'Hara. Now it's James Vanderbeek. Who's going to be the third? So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story when you heard this news about James Vanderbeek? We lost him apparently today after his cancer battle, stage 3 colorectal cancer. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Jesus. I've been clearing my throat a lot. What's going on? Mm. Well, I know him as not Stan's boss. Well, yeah, he was also on Pose, lest we forget. And now Stan is on that new show with Ryan Murphy that I still haven't gotten around to watch yet. I've heard people say it's actually pretty good. I haven't gotten around to watching it yet. The one that's supposed to be a ripoff of The Substance. But one of these days I'll check it out. Maybe I'll have to do a binge. Oh, I'm not coming down with a cold. But anyway, let's move on with the rest of the show because this weather has been changing and stuff lately. Oh yeah, remember he called her Ke ha. That's what he referred to her as because that was kind of like how they spelled her name back then. It was if you got alligator, you got it. But yeah, now she just can't show. She's not Ke ha anymore. All right, y'all. So now let's get into some horror movie news and let's talk about Scream 7. So I think this should be filed under no shit Sherlock news because it's quite obvious that we were going to get Scream 7 as a rated R movie. Could you imagine it was going to be PG-13? Bad enough, the movie's already got a bit of divisiveness with it because you have the hardcore Scream fans who love it regardless, and the people who are not in the silo paying attention to all the politics that was going on with Paramount, Skydance, and the Melissa Barrera thing, and all of the behind the scenes shenanigans that was going on with the movie before it finally became what it is, and it's about to come out in like 2.5 weeks. So, um, but then there's those people who, are just the haters that are just going to hate the film regardless and can't wait to just do all the spoilers or things that they think they know is going to be in the movie. So if they would have made this movie PG-13, we already know y'all would have started a damn riot. Because now y'all not gonna make it PG. We ain't gonna see the kills and other. Because y'all always think that if it's rated R, it makes it better. It depends on the situation. But yeah, a movie like Scream, can you imagine in PG-13? It's like no blood. The kills are done off screen. Like no, we need to see people get gutted, and that's what they said that it's going to be rated for violence, gore, and language, which I did hear I remember hearing this beforehand. They were saying there's a pretty gnarly death scene with like guts and all other stuff is in there. We love that. We haven't seen guts on the ground in a movie since Casey Becker was hung from that tree in the beginning of the original Scream movie, which they did edit it down, but I have seen an unedited, like like would it be called, would it be considered unrated? There's a different version where you actually see the gut spilling out, and you see it happen. I mean, or hanging, and you see it from her boyfriend Stephen North too. Like, there's a scene of him in the chair, and she looks, and you see the guts kind of spilling out over, his out of his stomach, all over his pants, and on the floor. You see the whole thing. So according to the report, shout out to Bloody Disgusting, they said the February 27th, 2026 theatrical release for the slasher sequel Scream 7 is swiftly approaching and 2 weeks out from the release date. The Motion Picture Association Ratings Board has announced that the film is earned an R rating with strong bloody violence, gore, and language. Every film in the franchise has been rated R, and Scream 7 keeps the tradition going. Now, they said that's what we've come to expect from the franchise. Here's what earned the previous installments their R ratings. The original Scream had strong graphic horror violence and gore, and for language. Scream 2, language and strong bloody violence. Scream 3, strong horror violence and language. They were just changing up it's the same thing, but they're just changing up the wording. Scream 4, strong bloody violence, language, and some teen drinking, even though they were probably all adults playing teenagers. Scream 2022, strong bloody violence, strong language throughout, and some sexual references. Scream 6, strong bloody violence and language throughout, and brief drug use. So that's basically what it is with that whole rating situation. They also wanted to say the latest entry in the slasher saga opens in theaters, including IMAX, Dolby Cinema, 4DX, and other previously premium large formats on February 27th via Paramount. I also find it quite interesting that they're opening up in these big screens, probably because they want to be able to scoop up a whole lot of money. And around that, by the time the movie comes out, I don't think they'll have any real competition because Avatar is pretty much dying out. Like the people that wanted to go see the movie saw the movie. It's pretty much it's hit its peak. People have moved on. I know we have that new Halle Berry movie coming out this week, and Chris Hemsworth. We also have Wuthering Heights coming out. But I'm thinking, and I guess y'all quote me on this, but I actually think that the Wuthering Heights movie is going to be a big hit because I feel like it's going to be up there like The Housemaid. That women are really going to come out and see this movie. One, you got Margot Robbie. Number two, you got Jacob Elordi. And number three, you have a pre-existing IP called Wuthering Heights. And they say there's a lot of sex up in it. So, um, and the women love sex. I mean, look, Heated Rivalry is a huge hit because of heterosexual women. That ain't necessarily the gays. You got gays hunching, but it's the women that's coming to support it. But I do believe that with Scream, they want to be able to get some of that fast money because So by opening up in places like IMAX and Dolby and 40X and stuff, I think that's a smart move. I've never seen it. Well, I don't think a Scream movie has ever been released in a IMAX theater. So I did get my ticket. I can't do it Thursday. I wanted to go open at night, but I have to work. So Friday morning, since I'm off that whole day, I am going to be able to go see the film early in the morning. I think it's like an 11 o'clock showing over at Lincoln Square. So I'm going to go see it there in IMAX. And I even said this, and I don't normally do it. I'm gonna even get a popcorn bucket. I saw the popcorn bucket that they have for the one at AMC. I'm like, that looks pretty cool. So I think I will even go above and beyond. The last time I bought a popcorn bucket was when Alien Romulus came out. Because I'm not really big on trying to buy all these popcorn buckets. Because then where am I gonna put them? Like they look cool and everything, and I'm not gonna probably eat out of it ever again. But just to have that memento, I'm like, okay, if they have any when I go there, and hopefully they do, I'll buy me a popcorn bucket. Now, the plot synopsis, in case you were wondering, they said when a new Ghostface killer emerges in the quiet town where Sidney Prescott has built a new life, her darkest fears are realized as her daughter becomes the next target. Determined to protect her family, Sidney must face the horrors of her past and put an end to the bloodshed once and for all. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing this movie because we already have like the original cast members coming back, like Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Scott Foley, Mason Gooding, Jasmine Savoy Brown, who I heard that is going to be going by she/they pronouns, and that's already got people's tits in a twist because you have a woman who is queer in real life incorporating her pronouns in the movie, and so the mob that always mad about stuff is coming up in here getting all outraged and up in arms over the fact that someone's gonna have like this is the world we live in. The world's changing. Catch either shit or get off the pot is what I'd say. Now the other cast members we have Isabel May, Anna Camp, Joel McHale, McKenna Grace, Michelle Randolph, Jimmy Tatro, Asa Gurman, Celeste O'Connor, Sam Reckner, Ethan Embry, Timothy Simons, and Mark Consuelos. So I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. I definitely want to see if Kevin Williamson stepped his pussy up in the directing department since the last movie he made was Teaching Mrs. Tingle, and y'all already dragged him through the coals over that damn movie. So hopefully he's able to redeem himself. But I would think after all these years of being on many a set and seeing how Wes Craven did the Scream movies or whatever, he's familiar with how to hit all the beats and make that whole situation work, especially when he created the Scream franchise. So I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. I'm not surprised by this by the ratings. I mean, can you imagine if they made this movie PG-13? But I'm not surprised by the ratings, and I'm looking forward to seeing it when it comes out. So I will say to you all, what do you guys think of this story? Are you excited to see Scream? Are you even shocked? I mean, is this like next thing you know, you're going to tell us water is wet over the fact that Scream has got their rating and it's R-rated for strong, bloody violence, going language. It's like, yeah, there's going to be a couple of F-bombs and S-bombs and all kinds of derogatory words used in the movie and people getting gutted and stabbed and all kinds of craziness. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Yes, The Beauty. Oh, you say it's okay. I mean, I'm not rushing to see it, but um, I'm gonna definitely check it out on one time when I guess I need something to just binge really quick. But yeah, I mean, when you saying it's all right, I'm like, I guess what would you expect from a Ryan Murphy project, right? All right, y'all. So now let's conclude with some more movie news. And let's get into this story. So I'm sure y'all probably heard, maybe you didn't. We're getting a new Mummy movie. And it's got the people of Radio Silence, formerly who were doing the Scream franchise, and they had moved on to other things due to scheduling conflicts. So yeah, Radio Silence is going to be behind the new Mummy movie, and so it's official tissue because we was hoping that it was going to happen. Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz are coming back for the new Mummy movie that Universal Pictures is developing or rebooting. And remember, she wasn't in the last one. I forget I forget the actress's name that replaced her. And I'm glad they're bringing these two back. So we got Jack and Eve, or it was it Evie or Ev? I can't even remember the name, but I did watch the first Mummy like maybe a couple of months ago. It's a fun film. Maybe I wish they could bring someone like I hope they just keep the spirit of the original film. But anyway, let's get into the story for it was Rick and Evelyn. That's what it was. Okay, so Oscar winners Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz are coming back to Universal's The Mummy franchise, with the next movie installment set for May 19, 2028. Universal said on Tuesday. Now, Uni had the date on hold for an event film. There are no other wide entries booked on that date. Deadline revealed in November that the pair were in talks to star in Radio Silence's movie off a screenplay by David Coggeshall, who wrote The Family Plan and Orphan First Kill. Oh, mm-mm. So far, I'm a little worried. When you said The Family Plan and Orphan First Kill, I'm like, that script, hopefully y'all gonna spruce it up, because I'm like, that script gonna suck. Now, they said the story of which remains under wraps. Now, Vice starred in the first two Mummy movies, The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, which came out in 1999 and 2001, respectively, while Fraser headlined the first three, Mummy, Mummy Returns, and The Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, which came out in 2008. Now, Radio Silence are helming the film. The Mummy brings Radio Silence back into business with Universal after the duo directed Abigail, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And here's the thing have to say about Radio Silence. I enjoy Radio Silence when they make their original stuff. Like, I'm looking forward to Ready or Not, Here I Come. I love the original Ready or Not. And I also liked um, Abigail. I thought it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I saw it in Dolby when it came out, because I was one of the very few that was supporting Melissa Barrera, while them so-called fake-ass Scream fans were sitting there and saying they was going to support her and they were going to boycott the other stuff. Where the hell was y'all when that movie came out? Still waiting to find out that answer. But when I went to go see the film, I was like, I enjoyed it. But then when they jump on other pre-existing IPs is when I started to worry, because I did not particularly care for Scream 5 and Scream 6. There were certain ideas in those films that I enjoyed, but overall, collectively, I didn't really. I mean, I like the idea of the core four. They weren't written the best in that film. I don't even think Melissa Barrera's character was utilized all that great in the fifth movie. You made her more exciting in the sixth film, and the thing that always irritated me about the last two Scream movies was that the third act, you can pretty much see Mikey Madison was the damn killer. I mean, she just looked like she was batshit crazy from the beginning. Just the way y'all had her looking and everything in the film, kind of like y'all were just pretty much saying, "Hi, look at me, I'm Ghostface over here." That's literally y'all were just like trying to beat us over the head with with the reveals. And like I told y'all, the scene that made me figure out who the killer was, or Urs was, in the sixth film, was the scene when the therapist gets killed. Because I was just like, well, how would the FBI know all of this stuff? And y'all were trying so bad to make it Kirby Reed. I'm like, I'm not buying this. So y'all just made it so easily um y'all just made it easy for those of us who was paying attention to realize, like, okay, y'all literally just telling us who the killer is before we even get to the big reveal. So by the time y'all reveal who it was, I was like, whatever. I was just so disappointed. So I don't know. I like The Mummy. I like the idea that y'all bringing this franchise back, but I'm not 110% that excited based off that writer and the fact that Radio Silence is taking a pre-existing IP and putting their stamp on it, because I don't feel like they're good at taking other people's work and making it exciting. So while I'm looking forward to seeing this movie and I like the characters in it, I do wonder if they're going to actually have their son in the film. I mean, they got to make him older, because when he was a little kid in like the 2000s, we in the 2020s now, so he's got to be like 19, 20 years old or something or another. I don't know. He's got to be late teens, early 20s, so they got to figure out how they're going to bring him in and what's the next adventure going to be. Now, another thing too, I know that Brendan Fraser has had a lot of physical ailments over the years. I remember at one point he was huge, then he lost a lot of weight. And I believe he said that he endured a lot of injuries when he was doing the Mummy movies, because he was doing a lot of the stunts himself. We don't need you coming to me here trying to prove like you Tom Cruise. Let them other stunt people come in and do all the heavy lifting. If you got to be running around and doing little things, you go ahead and do it. You could be like this aging archaeologist. I mean, you're still relatively young enough that you could do it. I ain't saying you Harrison Ford old, like Indiana Jones, who literally looked like in the last movie he had one foot in the damn grave, and y'all was up in there expecting us to believe that he could do all them crazy action sequences that y'all had him doing in that freaking movie. So if they could find ways to kind of make it interesting, like, yeah, an aging archaeologist or like someone who a treasure hunter, whatever the case is, it'll be interesting to see it. But overall, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic, because Radio Silence is behind this movie and the writer that they mentioned. Orphan First Kill, really? If you said the original Orphan, I'd have been like, okay. But that second one, which we didn't need, quiet as it's kept, and they're making another one. Well, I think they may have made another one. Whatever. Y'all just done killed that franchise because that whole reveal about the original Orphan movie with Esther, that was a great twist in regards to what they did. Now y'all trying to milk it. It's like everything does not require to be a franchise because sometimes stuff just works as a one and done. But you know Hollywood, so I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I mean, are you excited like I am over the fact that Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz are coming back for the next month, or the Mummy revival? They're rebooting the franchise. They got the original cast members. I just hope that once the script is what it is, that it's tightened up a little bit and it's not going to be trash by the time the movie comes out. So, whatever your thoughts are, let me know what they are in the comments down below. Big cast. I wonder what the length. I think I did know what the length of. Wait, hold on. Because I remember Critical Overlord. There's been a bunch of people that mentioned how long the movie's going to be. I think it's one. It might be 1 hour 59 minutes. But let me check. Let me check. It's Wicked for Good. Oh, I was close. It says 1 hour and 54 minutes. When it says when I'm looking at the Dolby Atmos thing. Also because of AI overview, but I'm looking at some other stuff too, because there's like an IMDb thing, and there's a bunch of other things, and there's even an Instagram post. Yep. So 1 hour 54 minutes is the original spec runtime. 114 minutes to be specific. But yeah. So about 2 hours, which is I guess with all the coming attractions and stuff is gonna be over 2 hours. I've kind of gotten in that way too. Like I'm the yeah, thank you, Maria Bello. That was the other woman that came in and replaced Rachel Weisz. Because I be forgetting names. But yeah, I agree with this. Though you said I can't really stomach violence lately. I just can't watch it like I used to. I feel the same way. Like there's moments where I get relatively squeamish when it comes to horror stuff. Like I even started getting squeamish when I watched Send Help. Which y'all need to see that movie. The movie was so good. It's funny. It's a lot of violence, action. Like it's just like a really funny, scary movie. And plus, just to see Dylan O'Brien's butt, that alone should be price of admission. But I'm the same way. I've noticed that I've gotten relatively before back when I was younger, I could just sit there and watch all kinds of gore and violence and stuff, and I'm like just watching it like it's nothing. Now I'm just like, oh no, like I gotta turn. I'll be fast forwarding kills sometimes. Like I can't. I am squeamish too, but I still watch them. But I get the same way, especially when it's like stuff that really could happen to you as a human being. Like if somebody's using a cheese grater on your skin or peeling off your fingernails, or like what? I was watching Casino Royale, and when Le Chiffre does the torture sequence, and y'all know the torture sequence to James Bond with his nuts. That scene I had to pass. I was like, oh hell no, because that's something that somebody can really do to you. And that pain of when you get hit in your balls. That's not something that I even want to just watch somebody go through because I could just imagine. I just feel your pain. And the way that Daniel Craig was selling that scene, I was just like, chill, I can't. All right, y'all. So now let's get into our final horror news before we move on to all the other celebrity news and gossip. Let's talk about Mike Flanagan and Stephen King. So apparently, Mike Flanagan, who has been developing a lot of Stephen King projects, has another project that he's about to do. I know he has a Carrie TV series that he's working that I think worked on. It's done. He's about to put out a movie. He's about to do The Exorcist with Scarlett Johansson. They're about to shoot that soon in New York. And also, it's a bunch of other projects. What was the other one I'm trying to think of? I don't know. It probably come up in the article. But anyway, so now he's gonna take a crack at The Mist, which I'm like, I love the original movie of The Mist that they made with Thomas Jane. why are we remaking this movie? I feel like y'all and Andrea from The Walking Dead. I was like, why are we doing this movie over? I like the movie. I even like that polarizing ending, which I know a lot of people don't particularly care for, but I actually like that ending because it was it was dour. I wanted people to, like, I get the whole, and Frank Darabont was behind that, who also developed the first season of Walking Dead before they did him dirty. He left. Um, but I like that dour ending because it felt like, damn, if y'all would just waited 5 more minutes, yeah, they about blow their brains out, ran out of bullets. Thomas Jane trying to blow his brains out. All of a sudden, the cavalry come. I'm like, God damn. And I'm like, that's something that could really happen in real life. So, but the root of the movie was about belief and faith, even though you had all the monsters and all that other stuff in it. And then at one point, they tried to do a TV series of it. I think it was on the Sci Fi channel, but it sucked. So we don't even care about that. But anyway, so they said, while a reunion between horror guru, shout out to the playlist for this story, between horror guru Mike Flanagan and Warner Brothers on another Stephen King adaptation isn't all that shocking, what they're doing next might throw off horror fans as they've been tackling a new version of The Mist based on King's novella that was published in Skeleton Crew. Oh, I also forgot. Mike Flanagan also did another favorite Stephen King book to film that I love, which is Doctor Sleep, the sequel to The Shining. I love that movie. I got both versions. I got the original theatrical version, which I think is 2.5 hours. Then I got the 3 hour unrated director's cut. Love that film. I only watch the director's cut because I feel like the director's cut adds to it. I hate that scene when they did the Jacob Tremblay when they was in there sucking out his essence. I just hate that scene. But because I'm like, no, y'all not up in here torturing that little boy, but they go there. So a report hailing from Deadline revealed that the pairing for the next horror remake, as Flanagan will direct, write the script, and produce through Red Room alongside Tyler Thompson, Spyglass Media's Gary Barber, and Chris Stone. It will also have Alexandra Magistro serving as a EP for Red Room. Originally, The Mist focused on a group of small towners from Maine who get trapped in a store as a fog rolls in, obscuring everyone's vision, and they discover interdimensional monsters are lurking within a never ending dense fog, possibly connected to the actions of a local military facility as they slowly discover the unseen horrors awaiting them if they leave. Their paranoia increases, which leads to a faction of the survivors buying into religious doomsaying and Jane's father character trying his best to keep his young son safe, at the same time trying to keep the increasingly violent mob at bay. This remake is a tad surprising given that Frank Darabont, Shawshank Redemption, The Walking Dead version from 2007, starring Thomas Jane, who plays a cover artist with Drew Sturzman's work in the background and the scene painting a dark tower piece with King's iconic good guy gunslinger as the film's protagonist. It is considered one of the better King adaptations from the 2000s, which eventually developed a cult status after its theatrical run, at the time considered a definitive take on King's material. Others that start in the pick were Marsha Gay Harden. Oh yeah, Marsha Gay Harden as the crazy religious woman. Oh, she pissed me off in that film. But but then again, that means that she did a good enough job as an actor in the film. But I will also say this. I was like, yeah, why would y'all touch? See, this is what I don't never understand about Hollywood. Why would y'all remake a movie that people actually like? Like, it's got a cult status, and I'm one of the cult fans of that film. Why would y'all touch something that people like genuinely? Maybe because the original movie flopped at the box office, but it developed, like we said, it developed the cult status. And that's the thing about Stephen King. It depends on his work. A lot of his movies don't really do well theatrically. So I guess remake the good movie instead of just like trying to take a crack at the movie that wasn't good. But then again, we've seen when y'all have done that, and that would be the Fantastic Four, because y'all always try to remake the Fantastic Four, and it just doesn't resonate with the people. So yeah, we had Marsha Gay Harden, Laurie Holden, who I call Andrea for The Walking Dead, Andre Brower, may he rest in peace, and Toby Jones. They said then again there was a short-lived series. Oh yeah, we talked about that. They tried to reboot The Mist for TV, and it sucked. And so yeah, he also did, I forgot, he did Gerald's Game, as I said, Dr. Sleep. He also did Life of Chuck, and he's also doing the series version of Carrie for Prime Video. So, and then now he's about to, before, I guess that'd probably be his follow up, Because right now, like I told y'all, he's about to do The Exorcist which has got a star-studded cast, by the way. So I'm like, okay, y'all mean business with this. Because y'all got Scarlett Johansson in it, which already is a big enough name, Diane Lane, Lawrence Fishburne, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Jacoby Jupe, who stars in Hamnet, which, if y'all trying to watch Hamnet, y'all can watch that. I think he plays the son, Hamnet, that died, which 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 I guess inspired Shakespeare to write Hamlet. So I want to see that film actually. I know it's available on digital, like you can watch it at home. So one of these days, I know like before the Oscars come around, I think I'm gonna spend that whole week just renting a lot of the movies are already on streaming service. So I could just sit and watch them then. Because I already saw one battle after another. Marty Supreme, they just dropped on Prime Video that you could rent it at home. So I want to watch all the Oscar nominated films. I might even watch Sinners again just to refresh my memory. But I want to watch all the Oscar nominated movies before they come out, and then I'll have an idea in my head of like, okay, so who deserves it? But we all know it's going to be between one battle after another or Marty Supreme that is going to get Best Picture, because those, like, I mean, I love Sinners, but I feel like those are the top two movies that everybody's going to be going for, that the industry is going for right now. So um with all that being said, I'm not that all that excited over the fact that you're remaking a movie people that has a cult status and people generally thought was a great film and doesn't need to be touched after what Frank Darabont did with that film, even choosing the big divisive ending that they did with that film. But if you're going to remake the movie, I guess the best thing about remaking this movie is having someone like Mike Flanagan behind it, who can't steer and who hasn't so far steered us wrong in regards of quality horror movies that he has put his stamp on or taken a crack at. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the latest news that Mike Flanagan is going to make uh The Mist for Warner Brothers? I just hope it doesn't suck, but because he's going to be behind it, I don't think it will. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now let's move on and let's get into some Benito news, because 3 days after the Super Bowl, people are still trying to decode, decipher, break on. They're still uncovering all the Easter eggs and all the references, all the cultural references and things regarding of all the things that he put in there. I know some people was like, why didn't he have that Yankee and this one, that one up there on the stage? I feel like at the end of the day, it was about Bad Bunny. He's a superstar. He wanted to take on the bulk of this, me. Why I'm a superstar. I'm gonna give you me and the culture and all the other stuff. All the other people that I've worked with and stuff, he had Cardi B dancing in the background. He played Don Omar and Tego Calderon and Daddy Yankee and all those other artists that he's collaborated. He played snippets of their music. So that was the shout out and the reference within itself. What I'm glad that he didn't do is that he didn't do like everybody does at these Super Bowl events, which is I got to bring out 50 people and put them up on stage, and we all got like 12 minutes to get everybody's little moment in. It's like, no, we only got a small amount of time to get this message across. It's literally halftime, 15 minutes to get in, perform, get out. So I'm gonna try to throw as much in as possible. You're getting all that with the cultural references, but also the other artists who definitely has helped and shaped reggaeton. I'm gonna give them their props, and he did that through playing snippets of their music in between those moments of his performance. So if people didn't catch it, well, that's on you. And plus, I already told y'all, Daddy Yankee don't do secular music no more. So first things first. So shout out to Benito, because we actually have the final numbers of how many people watched the Super Bowl, because there were some people that were saying, well, he did 140 something odd million, so he surpassed Kendrick Lamar, which I don't think he did, but we'll get into the article. So, and I want to get the good news out of the way before we get to the crazy stuff about the House of Representatives and all that. I mean, the politicians, the GOPers, and all that foolishness. So, the chaos and controversy surrounding Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime performance did not hurt the viewership numbers. They said he brought in a total of 128.2 million people to watch, which I will say is more than what y'all got over there at to Pussy. Because they was running around talking about they got 6 million. No, it wasn't. It was bots. And people was doing the research. They said that, yeah, y'all had literally bots up in there that y'all were using to get people to watch the To Pussy event over there on YouTube. They couldn't even get a licensing deal, whatever the case was. They couldn't get all the things of them trying to stream it on Twitter. Which you would think that somebody as racist as Elon or apartheid Clyde, as I like to call him, would have gotten people to come over there and watch that situation, but they didn't. So, yeah, they said it was bots. Also, it was pre-recorded. They recorded the To Pussy event on a Friday. How was it Super Bowl Sunday? Well, you said you was going to do it you was going to have it coincide with the Super Bowl thing. You filmed it on a Friday, and they paid 200 some odd people to come in there and act like it was a big crowd. So they were purposely trying to shoot the show with a lot of people in there. But then there was some people that was pulling angles and was like, nah, it's empty in here. They literally hired like a couple of people in there to pretend like it was a big crowd. And also, you had Kid Rock up there, Robert Ritchie, which is his government name, his old looking ass, up there he was lip singing for his life, but he was trying to, you know, plead for RuPaul to keep his ass for another week on Drag Race. That's literally what he was doing there, and he swore up and down he did not lip sync. And I'm like, okay, so if you didn't lip sync, then why is the microphone you doing this? And then when you pull the microphone down, we still hear your vocal. And it's like, did you not rehearse? Like, how do you not know that, okay, if I'm going to be lip syncing to a track, which is what a lot of these artists do when they go on like Top of the Pops or remember Soul Train back in the day, like stuff like that, how you pull the microphone and your mouth's still going? It's like, boy, come on now. So the To Pussy event was a flop, but Super Bowl wasn't. So yeah, so 124 million views. But they said that a new record for peak viewership at 137.8 tuning into the second quarter, drawing an average of 124.9 million viewers for the game. The Stars halftime show drew 128.2, making it one of the most watched performances in Super Bowl history. Kendrick Lamar remains the title holder, which is what I said, that he didn't beat Kendrick's number. So a lot of people, and it doesn't matter because the fact of the matter is we had Kendrick up there and we had Bad Bunny, two cultural significant parts of the hip hop community. Because yes, reggaeton is Spanish hip hop. So let's call it what it is. So you have someone who's on the hip hop side, and you have somebody who's on the Latin hip hop side, where they've come together and they're changing the game and they're bringing people in. And what people need to also realize, American football, as that psycho bitch over there, Megyn Kelly, wants to call it, that's not the top of the food chain in regards of sports or whatever. The real gag is that soccer, which is football over in Europe, is the number one sport in the world. Hence why we building a damn soccer field across from City Field in Queens. So if European football, FUTBOL, is not this big thing as these colonizers we want to sit up out here and want you to believe, then why is it like one of the biggest sports in the world? They make more money than American athletes, quiet as it's kept. Ask Carlo Messi how much money he made. He make way more money than a lot of your fave football players. So um, a lot of these people be running out here acting like they know what they talking about. They don't know what the fuck they talking about. But so shout out to you, Benito. So yeah, he didn't beat Kendrick's number, and that's fine. But he still broke records. First musician who did not speak a lick of English, gave you full beady beady bum bum for like 15 minutes, and brought in 128 million people. And the reality is, you got to realize a lot of those people that was watching, a lot of them ain't football fans. A lot of people just came in and tuned in just to see him perform, and that's why they said in the second. Wait, what was that line where I was reading? They said, yeah, the peak viewership came in at 137.8, and that was into the second quarter, which was when they knew Benito was bringing his little butt out on stage. The numbers went up, so people really wasn't watching the teams going, and well, it was 9-0 before Benito came out. So people wasn't really watching the game beforehand. They was watching, they wanted to see the Super Bowl, including the haters over at Mar-a-Lago and Megyn Kelly and Kid Rock, because they all had something to say about it. We're going to get into what they had to say coming up. So, yeah, I just want to point that out and give him his props. Now, also, another thing I want to bring props to is the fact that a lot of people were speculating about his jersey that he had on because it said, what was it? It's 69 on the back and it said Ocasio, which Ocasio was his last name. So he basically put this thing out and he said that it was basically a tribute to his uncle Cuquito. So, a lot of people were sitting there speculating. They said it was a nod to his mother's birth year, a reference to the 64th Congress. Oh, it says 64, it wasn't 69. Which passed, and they also said it was a reference to the 64th Congress, which passed an act granting Puerto Rican citizenship over 100 years ago. So yeah, according to Rolling Stone, they said that the cream white jersey that read Ocasio on the back and 64 on the front during the Super Bowl halftime performance was basically a tribute to his late uncle Cuquito. Now, in a statement in Spanish, he basically said this is why he chose to honor him. He said, wait, did they because I was like, I'm not gonna sit up here and try to read it. I was like, y'all not going to try to chop me over how I speak Spanish. So basically, he said 1964 is the year my uncle Cuquito was born, my mother's brother. The little I know about the NFL is thanks to him. He left for the United States at 17 to work and never returned to live in Puerto Rico, although he always visited us in late January or early February and stayed at our house. That was right in the middle of the NFL postseason, so I always watched the games with him. He was a huge fan of the San Francisco 49ers, the team whose home stadium is where the Super Bowl 60 took place, the one at which I performed. My uncle passed away 2 years ago, shortly after the 49ers lost to Kansas City in the 2024 Super Bowl. I always dreamed of taking my uncle to a Super Bowl, and I couldn't. He left unexpectedly without warning. So during my Super Bowl halftime show, I decided to have him on my shirt, Ocasio, his last name, the same as my mother's, and his birth year, 64. I dedicated my performance to him before it began. I'm sure he saw it. He was present, and he felt proud of his nephew. Now all that's left is the day the 49ers win another Super Bowl. Now, the sentimental nod to his uncle was one of the many symbols throughout the performance. The star also made sure to include plenty of cultural touchstones of his PR heritage, including references to the island's Sampo Concho, a crested toad endemic to PR that is now critically endangered, and the island's flag in azul clarito, which is associated with Puerto Rican independence. So yeah, so what people didn't realize is that yes, he was carrying, as I put it here, the original Puerto Rican flag, which was light blue, before they decided to change it to the American blue, so that way the Puerto Rican flag matches the American flag with the blues. So yes, in case a lot of people didn't realize that he was carrying the original Puerto Rican flag. So yes, there was a lot of different cultural references that was in the thing. And it's unfortunate that we got the morons on social media and House Republicans who didn't see the references because they were busy being outraged, fake outraged, over the fact of all the gyrating, the twerking, all of that stuff that was going, all the pelvic thrust and grinding because they ain't got no damn rhythm in their hips. This the dance they like, the dance where it looked like somebody jerking off two dudes so they could squirt skeet skeet in their face because that's the Trump dance. Look like he milking two dicks for his mouth. I'm sure that's in the Epstein files. Like everything else. So, according to Entertainment Weekly, they said 2 days out, well, now 3 days out, Bad Bunny's epic Super Bowl halftime show, which featured cameos from Lady Gaga, Pedro Pascal, and Ricky Martin, is still getting a lot of attention, especially from Republican lawmakers. They were not entertained. Y'all weren't? Are you not entertained? Shout out to Gladiator. So they said by Monday, one of its detractors, Representative Andy Ogle. Well, he was ogling a lot of them broads on that stage, and probably some of the dudes. He probably liked that scene of the two dudes in the little car space where they was grinding on each other. Y'all know that spot? I mean, that scene. If you didn't see it, rewind the video. or go back and watch it. It's on YouTube. Asked officials to look into the performance, which he called the pure smut, as he claimed was illegal to be displayed on public airways. Look, they even went as far as to compare it to Tittygate and Janet Jackson. I'm like, you cannot make this stuff up, of these salty ass saltines just being mad over nothing and they fake outrage. Now, Ogles cited choreography featuring overtly sexualized moments, including widespread twerking, grinding, pelvic thrust, and other sexually suggestive conduct. He is therefore requested that the Energy and Commerce Committee, EEOC, launch a formal congressional inquiry into the National Football League and NBC immediately for their prior knowledge, deliberate approval, and facilitation of this incident broadcast. I mean, indecent broadcast. American culture would not be so corrupted without consequence. The fact that they always try to do their little smoke screen, say America will not be mocked. I'm like, who are you talking for? And then when I play you all that clip later on of Megyn Kelly, it's about we. Bitch, who's we? Speak for yourself. It's you feel this way. It's not we. You want to do a conventional we so y'all can hide behind y'all bigotry and your hatred and your racism. So that's basically what all of this genuinely is. Hold on a second. Like, what? All right. So now I got morons in here like this one talking about they did better and they didn't even stream the Super Bowl. You fucking moron. Number one, um, Kid Rock talking about and them over there talking about they weren't gonna watch it. So you basically gave the show ratings. Number two, there were bots on it. It's literally, if you did the fucking research instead of coming in here with this clown bullshit, then you would know that you were incorrect in your actions. So suck my dick from the back and I hope you choke on my nuts. So um, I was like, I knew I had some dumbass in here with some stupid ass comment. But we're gonna move on. Because you know I stay calling out these morons in the comments. Now, and then somebody doing research. What the fuck you think I've been doing and what I'm providing? But of course, you know, people like moving goalposts, people like trying to change up things, people want to believe what they want to believe. Well, you're in the cult, and I hope you die with the cult. And you will, because y'all not gonna be around for long. And the tides are turning if you actually been paying attention to the tea leaves, which I always do. And I'm always on the forefront of what's going on. So um, they also went on to say that that Ogle and is it Representative Mark Alford said that he and his Republican colleagues in the House of Representatives already embarked on an investigation. So they said they're wasting tax-paying dollars on bullshit only because they're upset that they had a Latino up there performing and giving an FU to a lot of these ignorant ass people who want to keep us fighting within each other while they go and they pillage our government. They steal all of our resources and they keep us fighting with each other, and they continue to take from the top and leave us crumbs. This is what all this is about. And the fact of the matter is, this is sad that while we see that Bad Bunny and his performance was about uniting a country, which we have seen many a times of that's what he was doing, because it even said it in his message, people were still trying to find a way to spew a bunch of hatred, vitriol, and BS. So y'all can sit up here and waste money, waste time, waste energy, and waste taxpaying dollars on frivolous cases or frivolous investigations when um I just hope whoever gets this put on their desk that they just be like, you get this shit out my face. Like, you cannot be serious with this foolishness. So yeah, they went on to say, I saw the halftime show. We were switching back and forth with the Turning Point USA. Like, please, you weren't flipping back and forth. You sat there and watched it because we saw the videos. Not you necessarily, because I don't know who the hell you are. I think this is your moment. You want a moment. You want to, create fake outrage. You want to algorithm hustle because that's what a lot of y'all do. Y'all, the rage baiting and all that other mess. That's what y'all, a lot of y'all like to do because you realize this is the new grift. And so a lot of these politicians are trying to get in on it because they all want to have their little moment and kiss Trump's wide, fat, shit infested or covered ass because, he shits himself on the daily. So they want to keep this stuff going. And y'all was sitting there watching it because we even saw at one point that there was video of people in Mar-a-Lago with the TV on the damn Super Bowl. So, but y'all hate these people. You don't like Bad Bunny. He's a problem. He's dangerous. He's all these things. But they're sitting there in Mar-a-Lago watching this. So it's like, do y'all not see the hypocrisy, or y'all just so damn stupid that when people point things out to y'all, it's just hard to compute, or you just still want to just come to terms with the fact of like living in your little Delulu, world, your little bubble. But if that's what you want to do, then maybe you need to go seclude yourself in a place where you can be disconnected from the rest of the world. Because the reality is the world is changing and y'all don't like it. Y'all don't, and I'm probably gonna say there's a lot of times in this show. The real gag is, and Megyn Kelly said this quiet part out loud, and I can't wait till we get to her. Because y'all are becoming the minority, and the people like the Hispanic community are becoming the majority. They're having a lot of children. They're starting to grow in regards of the community as a whole. And white people aren't out here procreating like they used to be. Eyewitness News just did a video on it where they was talking about that for the first time, and they said it was going to come by 2030. Well, child, it came 4 years early because in 2026, it's saying like this for the first time in a long time that Blacks, Asians, and Hispanics combined have surpassed white people in procreation. So that's the real thing that they mad about. Y'all always gonna be mad about some shit. So yeah, I'm probably gonna reiterate that quite a few times. So yeah, he said I saw the halftime show. We were switching back and forth with the To Pussy halftime show. The lyrics from what we've seen from Bad Bunny are very disturbing, and if it holds true, I don't speak fluent Spanish. Okay, I know how to act. This motherfucker had the nerve to fix his mouth and say, I know to ask where the bathroom is. Are you sick? Yeah, so you can put your head in the goddamn toilet because you're full of shit. But if it's true, what was said on national television, we have a lot of questions for the entities and broadcasters that will be taken with. Okay, so now y'all doing too much. Because now you sit up there about, I don't speak fluent Spanish. But the only thing you can say is you know where the bathroom is. Yeah, because your mouth, everything about you is shitty. You're full of shit. So you flipping back and forth. You don't understand what's going on. If you don't understand, why don't you ask your housekeeper or all the people, all the Hispanics that you do hire to do all the dirty work, your cracker ass refuses to do because when you a politician, y'all got money, right? So you can afford a housekeeper, you can afford a maid, you can afford a nanny. All them Hispanics that be sitting there wiping y'all asses, your kids' asses, taking them to and from school, driving them to school or wherever. Ask them. If you don't know what the references are, you can't sit up there and ask them. And shout out to all the people out there who have taken the time to want to educate themselves on a lot of the cultural references that they were seeing in the in the halftime special. Because that's what I did. Like once I started watching it, there were certain references that I caught. Because yes, being born and raised in New York City, I'm surrounded by Puerto Ricans. One of my god brother is Puerto Rican. Also, I have a lot of family members that, of course, are Hispanic. I'm also part Hispanic. I'm, with me mixed with Filipino and Black and stuff. My family is from Spain. So I do come and also growing up in Brooklyn and Harlem and so many other places a part of New York, we pretty much come in proximity of different cultures. And growing up in certain areas, you hear the music coming out of people's apartments or outside the window or when you walking down the street. So I've always been enriched in so many different cultures around here. So it don't bother me. Which is why when you hear stuff like this, these people are just like, either y'all are algorithm hustling, you're doing this because it's for attention, or you genuinely are a racist and you don't like the fact that y'all are becoming the minority. That the things that y'all were able to say and do when you back in the day, y'all can't do it no more. So that's why y'all like to hide behind Trump, and that's why you voted for him. So yeah, shout out to you, Bad Bunny. Hopefully nothing comes of this because I just feel like it's just a waste of money. It's just a waste of taxpaying dollars, and this is just some frivolous ass case that y'all out here just wasting money for what? Because you didn't like the fact that somebody up there who was basically making their people feel seen and giving them a sense of hope and strength and power because y'all been browbeating them for the longest, especially with ICE and all the stuff they've been doing. So you don't like this guy, that this one artist is out here uplifting his people and giving them a sense of hope. And I'm gonna say this too. Some of you Negroes out here, some of y'all need to stand the fuck down because I don't like this shit y'all coming out here doing too, where y'all going in about, well, black people going in and throwing shade to me. Well, I didn't like it. You have a right to not like the show. But the reasoning was like when Chris Brown was like, they need me. No, the fuck we don't. First of all, like I said the last time, they don't pay artists in crack cocaine. So they're not gonna have you up there, and plus you're a woman beater, among other things. So they're not gonna put your black ass, well, I'm sorry, your high yalla ass up there to do no damn Super Bowl. They're not trying to deal with no even worse controversy than they've been trying to get. Even though, bottom line, y'all always gonna find something to complain about regardless. So yeah, I'm just over it in this foolishness, but we still got more to be dealing with in regards to more people coming out with they fake outrage and saying all kinds of racist shit and getting the repercussions for the stupidness that they said. But I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? This is such a stupid thing that of course our government is yet again spending all this money on. But yeah, so the same energy y'all putting into this whole halftime show about the widespread twerking, grinding, pelvic thrust, all this other mess, where's that same energy for these Epstein files? Because now it's been released that when they, in the unredacted stuff, Trump's name has been mentioned a million times. It wasn't even 30 something thousand. It's a million. So they're talking about, he's all over it. And amongst all the crazy things that's in them Epstein. So why are we not putting all the energy in that? And that's what I feel like the bottom line of all this is. It's a distraction from them files. And some people don't even think Jeffrey Epstein is dead. Anything they faked his death. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right. Exactly. Why another remake to what I believe was a great movie, good novel movie. Wait, what's the blank mean? Don't get me started on what I think about the 536 remake to be. I always go into the Oscars not having watched a single movie. The last time I actually watched the Best Picture nominee was Barbie. Mm, Barbie was nominated for Best Picture. Where the hell was I? He says, so are we supposed to look civilized by doing Trump's double hand job dance? Okay. That's what I said. You doing this. I said, okay. So and word on the curve was Trump like a little boy. That came out in the Epstein files. The PDF protect. Okay, exactly. Crying hard. Well, keep crying, bitch. Is what I say. All right now. Now speaking about bitches that's crying, because now she unemployed. Let's talk about Jill Zarin. So I was gonna bring this up. If I was like, damn, I was hoping I was so mad when I found out all this tea because I was like, I wanted to do a show yesterday. But in a way, it was kind of good because now the story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, so I don't have to do a multiple episode arc of this situation. So I could just tie it all together. So yeah, so Jill Zarin, um, apparently was one of the people that did not like Benito Bowl, which is fine. Art is subjective. There are certain things I don't like. I didn't like the Weeknd's Super Bowl. Quiet as it's kept, I like the Weeknd songs. I think he's a horrible live performer. Some people say he's great. He doesn't move the needle for me. So watching his Super Bowl, I thought his was the weakest. There have been Super Bowls that I love. There are Super Bowls that I'm like, half times that I didn't particularly care for. So like I said, you have a right to not like something if you don't like it. However, when you start to sprinkle a little extra seasoning on the reason why you don't like certain things, and it's the one time the people right like this color like to use seasoning in their shit is when they don't like something. When they deal with actual food, they keep the shit bland. But when it comes to talking about stuff regarding what they don't like about other people and things and stuff, it was like that's when it becomes a problem. That's when it becomes problematic because you didn't have to say what you said about Bad Bunny because it felt very racist, came across as very racist, and then had the unlitigated go to try to throw shade at Lady Gaga's facelift. And I'm sitting there like, ma'am, do we not own a fun? Do you own a funhouse mirror? Because clearly you don't know what the fuck you look like. Got the nerve up in here talking about her face, bitch. You look like a whole blowfish. with the amount of shit you injected in your face, but you got the nerve to read Lady Gaga's looks. And if she decides to get a facelift at her big age of 30, oh yeah, 39, she about to be 40 next month. At her big age of 39, then that's her business. She don't look horrible. That's her business. She want to walk around with the face she got and want to add a little, tightenation up in the situation. That's her business. But what's your excuse? You can't read another broad on their face when your face has been, tightened more times. Like I could look in the back of your head and see a whole knot back there, as much as tight as your face been pulled. But anyway, if you didn't see the clip, because she has removed it, but you already know, once you remove stuff from social media, it's forever. And I think that's what a lot of these people forget. And especially she's like 60, so she's a boomer. I don't know why she's surprised that she would think, oh, it was taken down, whatever the case is. Sis, once you put something out there, somebody could always get their hands on it. So I do have the clip because I want y'all to hear what this bitch had to say and why she's so relatively clueless, culturally clueless, and clueless, period, on why her ass has got fired from that new reality show that she was supposed to start filming with them OG housewives. So we're going to play that clip and then we're going to come back and talk. Please hold.
So we all agree. Now we all agree. I agree. I said it before that it was the worst halftime show ever. And it's 250 years that we're celebrating right now in the United States. And I just don't think it was appropriate to have it in Spanish. And quite frankly, I didn't need to see him grabbing his, G area. I think it was totally inappropriate. You've got all these young kids watching the Super Bowl, and he doesn't have to be grabbing himself every 5 seconds. Is he so insecure? Seriously, I didn't understand it. I don't speak Spanish. I would have liked to have known the words he was saying. To me, it looked like a political statement because there were literally no white people in the entire thing. I think it was a political statement, and I'm not taking a side one way or the other. I just do. I think it was an ICE thing. And I just think that the NFL sold out, and it's very sad because this was 75 years. And, shame. And Lady Gaga got a facelift. I didn't recognize her. I literally had to Google her face to see who it was because we all couldn't agree who it was. So that was kind of fun in the middle of halftime. At least it gave me something to do because it was so hard to watch.
So you couldn't tell by the sound of her voice that was Lady Gaga. Like Lady Gaga has this distinctive voice. When you hear her sing, you know it's her. Like it did take us all a second, like quiet as it kept. It did take us all. I'm like, is this Lady Gaga? But then I knew from the tattoo, like I think she had like a saxophone tattoo on her arm. So like by her tattoos, I knew who it was. So that's how I recognized. Then I looked a second because I didn't particularly care for the wig, but when I looked at it, I was like, okay, that's Gaga. Like, we all knew who it was. And it took us a minute, but we figured it out. But you didn't have to throw in that stinger about her face and all that other stuff. So, yeah, so after that, she got dragged all on social media. And there were housewives. Hold on, because I don't even think I pulled up. Let me look that up because that was the article that I should have had y'all, because there was a couple of housewives that went and dragged her for her comment, and I want to read y'all some of what those ladies had to say. So bear with me a second. I was like, where'd it go? Oh, okay, I got it. So, and yeah, so I had like before we get to that, I did have a problem with how she worded some of what she said, because I don't know how she said what she said and felt like it wasn't problematic with what she said. Oh, I don't speak Spanish, but I can. What's that? I don't speak Spanish, but I can if you like. Ow, no, that's Lady Gaga. But well, she would have said, I don't think it's appropriate to have it in Spanish. I think. Oh, and then the G area, girl, you can't say groin. Like, what are we, two? You can't say groin, G area. What the fuck are you talking about, stupid ass? And then to my all these young kids. There was young kids in the goddamn show. You ain't seen a little boy that was laying on the chair. Which, if you've been to many weddings, we've all been there. In regards of like us laying across a chair, whatever the case is. So that was relatable. There was kids in the damn show. So what are you talking about? And him grabbing himself, Michael Jackson did that shit throughout his career, and y'all had a problem with it then. And yeah, that's what it is. Like when you feel in the music and you allow the music to overtake you, you gyrate. Things move. How you think your daughter, how you think you gave birth? Your husband was gyrating up in your dry ass puss, which I find it funny. Now, if you didn't feel like what you said was wrong, then why did your daughter have to go immediately you took the video down because they was like, oh no, this is problematic. And she's so damn stupid. She didn't even realize what she said was problematic. Her daughter had to go and do damage control because they have a business. I think it was a furniture business, something or another, a carpet business. And then that's when the aftermath came out of E being like, oh no, we don't want to fuck with this bitch. Like we was about to give you a second chance at life because Bravo don't fuck with her. Except I think around that time when they did the Ultimate Girls trip, and they were just like, oh no, we don't mess with her. But we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, so and then I don't understand what she kept talking about, like 75 years of what? What are you talking about? So you were just all over the place. And I feel like because she was in that room with whoever she was in the room with watching the Super Bowl and the halftime special, they was egging her on and they was probably like, I'm gonna show out in front of these people. So I think a lot of times y'all forget that little kitchen table talk, which is what needs to be kept as nothing but kitchen table talk. That once you cross over that bridge and you decide to hold up a phone to your face and start spewing the shit you spew, and it gets out there in the world with the rest of us are sitting there watching, and we realize what you said because the company you keep aren't going to hold you accountable on your racist Karen, points of view. And when you get around people who actually catch all of your little racial microaggressions and call you out on it, this is the repercussion. So I was like, well, where's it? What is it? Okay, so several Bravo stars waited, including the Valley's Janet Caperna, who commented, tell me you're racist without telling me you're racist. Yikes. Real Housewives of Dubai star Chanel Ayan wrote, seriously disgusted. She also said, I'm unfollowing you. And Bazoma St. John, who was the sole black cast member of Real Housewives because, Garcelle ain't on there no more, said, I'm not taking a side yet. Very clearly is taking a side. That is taking a side because when you say I'm not taking a side, but then you mention ICE, clearly you are with ICE and you agree. And you can't tell me this bitch ain't vote for Trump because it was giving very much a lot of those talking points. And I truly feel that's why a lot of y'all voted for Trump is because y'all know that man is polarizing. Y'all know he's a convicted felon. You know he's a rapist. You know he's a thief. You know he cons his own followers and supporters. Most recently, there was some about that new Trump RX medical insurance thing that he's got going on as a scam. That just recently came out where he's doubling the price of the medical stuff that you would be able to get from other medical situations. So that, what is it? That I forget, it's like this Ozempic, it's one of the Ozempic type things where he's doubling the price on that versus when you can get it from Mark Cuban for $18. So when all this other stuff coming out, I was like, you can't tell me she ain't vote for him, but they vote for this man because the supremacy of it all gets to stay in place. I don't think all of them voted that way, but there's a lot of them that I truly feel fall in that category of you like the supremacy aspect because he plays this whole white nationalist bullshit and y'all can hide behind it. And she thought that she was going to be shielded from the outcome because I could just get up there and say whatever I want. No, you can't. Yeah, you can definitely say whatever the hell you want, but you got to realize when you get up there and say whatever the hell you want, it comes with consequences. So yeah, Bazoma went on to say, she said, I'm not taking a side yet. It's clearly taking a side. Please. I, on the other hand, love Benito Bowl. It's for its beauty, culture, history, and message. RHOBH alum Crystal Kung Minkoff reposted a GIF on Threads of Jill making an unflattering face while filming RHONY season 4 and said, I'm posting this GIF because I know Jill hates it. And then Bad Bunny, as you know, they talk about he honored his, so so they was coming after him. And in all of this being said, she's been fired from this new show that she was supposed to do over on E, which is called The Golden Life, which was going to reunite her with her former housewives, Kelly Ben Simone, Luann de Lesseps, Ramona Singer, and Sonia Morgan in South Florida. And this is according to Deadline. And funnily enough, some people was like, they was actually surprised this was Jill. They was expecting Ramona to be the one to come out and give. Because remember, they fired Ramona from the Housewives of New York because she had been caught out here making racist comments and saying all kinds of stuff. And this is weird for me. I can't, like, it's hard for me to understand sometimes, but it also goes to show that even just because you live in New York that you get a lot of those people that like, oh, we from over here, we stay on the Upper East Side or whatever the case is. We don't really interact with all the different cultures. Only if we want to get quesadillas or drink margaritas. Those are the only times we want to interact with other cultures. But overall, we stick with our own little white Anglo-Saxon people. So that and it is a possibility that you can just mingle with that group of people in New York. You can get all the things, but at the end of the day, you keep your circle relatively white because then when summertime comes, we run down to, Palm Beach in Florida or the Hamptons in Suffolk County, which is where a lot of my family lives and over in that area. So, not surprised by this at all. I mean, I was shocked that she would say something at her big age at this day and age with the way the world is changing. But then, like I said, with this current administration, everybody feel like they got their big girl panties on, and they can just run around and say stuff. So yeah, she has responded because we need to get to that. Well, a rep for Zarin, who appeared on RHONY from 2008 to 2011, did not immediately respond for requests, but the reality TV star defended herself in a statement to In Touch. Producers didn't even give me a chance, is what she said. I took it down right away. People make mistakes. I'm human. Once again, if you felt the need to record what you had to say, stick a whole phone, and because I know she got an iPhone, stick a whole iPhone in your face, recording, thinking you was real cute with all that fixer flat in your face to say all the bullshit that you were saying with your whole chest, and you hit send to post it to all your little social media platforms. You knew what you was doing. It wasn't a mistake. It's how you felt. And now that you're getting the backlash, now you want to backpedal. It's too late. And this is what I say to people. You can say whatever you want to say. You're going to sit and hide behind the freedom of speech little ditty that y'all like to run around with and to say ad nauseum. But with freedom of speech comes freedom of consequence. And these are the consequences. You can say whatever you want. E is like, we don't fuck with people that got all of that stuff because what you're not going to do is mess with our ratings. Now, I wonder who they're going to put in her place. Are y'all going to hit up Bethany? Do Bethany want to come back to TV? Because I'm sitting there like, who would y'all put in there? Or y'all just going to leave it blank? I guess we'll find out. Alex McCord, I don't even think Alex lives in New York anymore. I mean, in the U.S. anymore. I think she left the country. I think she lives in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so she's saying she's human. Yeah, you human, but that's what you did. Now stand in you shat the bed. Now roll around a little bit before you change the sheet. Because you called it the worst halftime show and all those. And look, like I said, if that's how you feel, you have a right to feel how you feel. If you don't like something, art is subjective. Your opinion was not subjective. It was rooted in racism. There's a difference. I'm trying to see if I had her daughter's situation up in here because I said that there was something. But look, I feel like I said all I need to say with this. But anyway, before we get off this topic, she does have somebody that defended her, though, and that came to her defense. Brandi Glanville, which, child, what is up with y'all in this Mar-a-Lago look? Because that's literally what Brandi's giving. When I saw this picture, I was like, ooh, who is that? Who this woman? So, because I don't know who that is. She had a little parasite in her face, and it shows. Now you out here looking like, I don't even know what she looked like. You literally out here looking like Pete Burns. Now, Brandi Glanville is defending Jill Zarin after she was fired. She said, oh wait, so here's what E said. They said, in light of recent public comments made by Jill Zarin, Blink 49 Studios has decided not to move forward with her involvement in the Golden Life. The show's producers told Us Weekly in a statement, we remain committed to delivering the series in line with our company's standard and values. However, Glanville 53 said in a Twitter post on Tuesday that Zarin should have had a chance to explain herself on the upcoming show. So you basically want us to wait, which I believe they're going to start shooting next month, a whole month, or maybe 2-3 weeks ballpark, give or take, because I don't know when the exact shooting date's going to start, to let you save all this energy for a reality show camera? No, that's not how that worked, Brandi. And I'm not taking advice from someone who actually got a whole show taken off before it was even done or was even able to air because you grabbed Caroline, allegedly, Caroline Manzo by the pussy. So we gonna sit up here and take advice from you? No. Hell no. Because you out here allegedly SAing other co-stars. Because that was the lawsuit. We ain't forget. So I said, okay, number one, I have a huge crush on Bad Bunny and I want to be Mrs. Robinson. The half show rocked. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills alum began her post. The reality star continued. My friend at Jill Zarin was her own has her own opinion, and I don't agree with it at all. But opinions aren't wrong; they're subjective. No, art is subjective, not an opinion. I want to watch Jill on TV explain herself and hopefully learn something, or we could just keep watching yes people afraid to share. Well, here's the thing. It'd be awesome if on a reality TV show, she could explain what she says and you could have whoever come in and try to be the teachable moment for her. But Jill ain't trying to change her mind and learn something. She don't give that in her energy. And also, who would you have do that? Because you damn sure ain't gonna get it from Sonia. You damn sure ain't gonna get it from Ramona. And I know, I mean, even though I like Luann, I don't see her trying to be that voice of reason either. So who we getting to come in to give Jill this teachable moment that you expecting? Because it ain't gonna be none of them broads. Rosario the maid. I'm just throwing the name out there because there was a Rosario maid on Will and Grace. But I'm just saying, like, who we gonna have? The housekeeper coming in to give that team. It's gonna feel very after school special. It's gonna feel very sitcom. And I do agree that yes, there should be teachable moments. And the teachable moment is this: she's fired. People went in the comments, and while they was dragging her, I'm sure that she was getting those educational moments, those teachable moments. But you would think that, okay, whenever you get fired from a job, whether it's for what Jill Zarin said or for whatever reason, you should look at that moment of you being fired as what is the teachable moment? What is the lesson that I'm supposed to learn here? That you have to learn to not be so damn bigoted. You can give an opinion and said you ain't like the thing, you ain't like the show. But when you start throwing all that extra stuff up in there, it's just showing like, okay, your racism has been showing. That's exactly what it was giving. Because in life, white people have been given this platform where y'all are told y'all the best, you're the greatest, the world is yours, you can do whatever you want in life, and there's no consequence to your actions. That you could just treat people any way you want. You could act whatever way you want. Those of us of color, we've always had to learn to be extra cautious in a lot of stuff. And the ones that don't know that is because they trying to cuck themselves to them group of people that wouldn't piss on your ass if you was on fire. Which is what Mace and Teddy Riley recently, because he went up in there talking about Mace was correct about the whole, or Chris Brown, whatever it was that he had said about Bad Bunny and whatever, and then Chris Brown coming out saying what he's saying. It's like, let's not start doing the tap dance. Please don't. So, Brandi, I like you. I've always been a fan of yours with the, when how entertaining you have been on the Housewives. But stand down, mind the business, stay out of this. No, that's not how you learn your lesson. You don't do a whole after school special episode, the very special episode of The Golden Life, whatever the fuck this show's gonna be called, where Jill Zarin learns a lesson to not be a racist. See you next Tuesday. Like that. No, that's not the game we playing over here. She'll learn her lesson by her ass not being on TV. The only way she's gonna get on TV is she record another video and post it on Twitter. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Jill Zarin being fired from this new show, The Golden Life, over what she had said about Bad Bunny? Plus, Glanville, who Jill said about Gaga, I wouldn't have recognized her if she walked past me because I'm like, who face is that she's wearing currently? So, and what she had to say coming out here trying to defend Jill. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I sent a screenshot from Jake Paul's brother who tweeted, didn't they Didn't Logan say that, oh, I don't agree with what his brother was saying, but I don't trust neither one of them as far as I could throw them. Oh yeah, there was another thing that I was gonna pull up that this woman had said, because I did a screenshot of that too. There was one woman that said this. She said Jill was 100% allowed to share her thoughts. Her employer was allowed to make a decision on who and how their brand is represented. She could have verbiage in her contract about things we don't know. But at the end of the day, she was fired. She can keep saying what she wants. She just won't be working on that show. And that's what I say is like E has a right to do what they do. If you don't fit in with their standards and practices, they have a right to be like, well, we don't want her vitriol here. Oh yeah, I remember reading this. He said, I love my brother, but I don't agree with this. Puerto Ricans are Americans, and I'm happy they were given the opportunity to showcase the talent that comes from the island. Yeah, because if you buy a certain amount of land, you don't have to pay taxes into on PR. Which whoever came up with that rule, you need to be ousted. Because I don't like that. Because then that's when all the rich white folks come in and start taking advantage of the island. Tipusa didn't even have a fourth of the viewers. Exactly, they didn't. I told you there were people that were screenshotted. It said 200,000 people were watching. And them saying it was 6 million. First of all, like I said to y'all, when y'all watch this show, and this is alive, y'all see that the numbers move. I mean, the comment thing moves. When y'all be typing stuff in, it moves. They said it wasn't even moving over there. And like I told y'all, it was filmed on a Friday because we found this out. They hired people to be in the audience. All of this evidence is coming out. All you gotta do is research it. But if I already know, like, when certain people want to come in and troll, if Fox News is not telling you, if Newsmax is not telling you, if Real American, whatever that stupid new network is, if these people aren't telling you, if Page Six isn't telling you, or New York Post, any of the Republican leaning publications aren't telling you the bullshit you want to hear, then everything else is fake news and it's all lies. But all you got to do is do the research. Even if you don't want to believe it from people who are who actually are doing the research, they all lazy motherfuckers don't want to do. She ragging on Lady Gaga for a facelift. Oh yeah, Jill, that's your real face at 62 because racist. Oh, we know. We seen them pictures of Kid Rock, how horrible he looked. And the word on the street is he's out here hunching Lauren Boebert. Somebody said, try again, Kenny. Try again what? He was actually telling you the truth. But your dumbass is just too stupid to look it up. And he said, and it's my Kenny. I was like, nobody from South Park is in here. The Puppy Bowl, 14 million views. Them Bowl, 4 million views. So this was like, yeah, the Puppy Bowl did better than him. All right, so now prepare to be even more outraged because we're about to talk about this bitch. Let's talk about Megyn Kelly, the other nutmeg. So, who I heard that she went in, or speaking of which, Megyn Kelly went in on Nutmeg McCain. So, two nutmegs going at it. Um, Over her saying that she thought the Bad Bunny performance was good. So, you already went on your little rant, which we're gonna play for y'all because I need y'all to hear from her. I can read it, but it's not the same as hearing it from this psycho clear person. Um, Trying to find the words from this Claren, and that's with 3 Ks. Um, yeah. So let's get into what was said. So, right-wing political commentator Megyn Kelly has been mocked online for her impassioned take on Bad Bunny's hit Apple Music Super Bowl halftime show. Now, she sat and spoke with Piers Morgan, who I don't particularly care for him either. I think he's another idiot. Um, she ranted because there was one panel that pissed me off that he had. One, I watched him with Kyle Kalinske, where Kyle ate all of them up on that panel. But I saw the stunts and shows that Piers was trying to pull. And then it was another one that Jason Lee did that I was like, oh, Jason was eating that girl up. And then Piers was starting his shit again. Like, he always tries to steer it in a way where the right-wing psychopaths get to really get propped up. And the people that really come in with the shit and the facts, he always tries to like throw them off a little bit and try to make them look like a fool. But if you stand your ground and you smart enough, you can ride the wave and get through all the muck. So yeah, she went on Piers Morgan on February 9th, which is 2 days ago apparently, and basically went on a whole Clarin, and that's with 3 Ks, rant about the Bad Bunny show. Now, I mean, performance, or as I like to call it, Benito Bowl. So yeah, we have that clip. I want y'all to play it. I want to play y'all the clip. And hold on. We will come back. Before that, hold on a second. I got to check. Huh? Gone where? I was like, don't come in here and spread no lies. He's gone where? But we'll come back and talk after y'all wait, hold on. Is it in there? Okay, it is. We'll come back and talk right after y'all watch this clip. Please hold.
I'm sorry, Piers, but to get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish. This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latinos, not for one small group, but for the country. We don't need a black national anthem. We don't need a Spanish-speaking, non-English performer, and we don't need an ICE or America hater featured as our primetime entertainment.
Okay, what is the national language, officially, the national language of the United States of America?
I mean, English. And there's been a push for many years to make it an official,
you don't have one.
Documented thing.
You don't have one.
If you would have let me finish my comment, I would have pointed that out, that people have been pushing to make it official.
Okay, right, so you're trying to make official.
This attitude that you have right here is why you in Great Britain have lost your culture. You ceded your culture to a bunch of radical Muslims who came in and took over, and now it's gone. We're not allowing that here. Whether it's Hispanic, whether it's Muslim, it's not happening in the United States of America. That's why President Trump was elected. And whether it's Bad Bunny, who is American but refuses to speak English in his performances, or anybody else, we have to keep the Super Bowl, which is a quintessential American event. Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American football. And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American. Not Spanish, not Muslim, not anything other than good old-fashioned American apple pie. There should be a meatloaf, maybe some fried chicken, and an English-speaking performer. That's what the Super Bowl should be.
This bitch is cooked, and she's an idiot. Because I'm sitting there like, is she serious? You just can't help but laugh at how, you know what, I just laugh when y'all be doing that. For now, I'm not arguing with angry saltines. I'm gonna just start laughing in y'all face, and I'm gonna just repeat everything y'all say, and I'm gonna just changing my voice to really get under your skin, because y'all don't realize how stupid y'all sound. And the fact of the matter was, with all of that she said, and quiet as a skip, I don't even think she believes the shit that she says. Did catch some of the stuff that she said, and I felt like she don't mean it. She doesn't even believe the shit that she's saying. Because when you go and say this was supposed to be a unifying event for the country, it was. It's not going to be for you because you already had your mind made up before he even got up on that stage and performed. So you're not a part of the people that you're not a part of the conversation regarding the people who he was unifying. Because like I said earlier, when we were talking about Benito and the whole thing about the ratings and everything, he was bringing people together. And even those people who weren't familiar with his music or all the cultural references that were mentioned in the performance, people actually took the time to really learn and do the research. And I saw so many videos that were popping up all over social media. I don't have TikTok no more, but I saw like people would post their TikTok videos on Instagram, and the Instagram videos that I would see, people were breaking down a lot of the cultural references. I've been breaking down the cultural references on this show. So just because your ass missed it because you like basking in so much of all this hate and rage bait, because it keeps your algorithm hustler, and you need these moments of clout so that way you keep the whatever it is that you going, because this is a big money maker. Because I forgot to mention this. Even though a lot of people didn't watch that To Pussy event over there that Kid Rock lip sync for his life for, he benefited financially from it. So there is money to be made in grifting and selling hate. And that's what she's doing. And then sitting up there talking about, we don't need a span, and then had the nerve to throw black people up in it. Talking about, we don't need a black national anthem. Yes, the fuck we do, and we also do it at the Garden. So I love when we bring out Live Every Voice and Sing. And they was mad at, who was it that performed? Was it Ari Lennox? I can't remember who it was that sang because I missed it. All I know was that Green Day performed and Bad Bunny performed, and I think Brandi Carlile performed. But we need the Black National Anthem. Why not? People need to know that we have a Black national anthem, but the reality is they want to erase all of our history. They want to erase Latino history. And the fact that what Black people need to realize, Puerto Ricans have a lot in common with Black slaves, and especially because there's been a lot of Black slaves who were dropped off in Puerto Rico. So look into the history. We have a lot more in common than not. And so the Black national anthem, they want to erase the Black history. They want to erase Latino history. When we get to the story later on in the show, they want to erase homosexual history because they done took down the pride flag over at Stonewall, which you know is an iconic spot in New York based off its queer history. So we got that story coming up later on. And then talking about that he needed to speak English and all this other stuff. English is not his first language. Like literally, he's been learning English in the past couple of years. And so we don't fault him for that because he reminds reminds me because I grew up, I'm like growing up in New York, I'm used to being in a melting pot of different cultures and this, that, and the other. So to me, it's not an issue. But then she was just pissing me off with a lot of this. I was just trying to find this other picture. That's why I was stalling. Hold on. Because I was like, let me put that one up. So yeah, so I was just trying to break all this down. And then the whole thing about seeding your culture, I'm like, what? But football is not even an American sport. It's from the UK, which he actually went on to remind her in the rest of that clip, which I didn't have. And here's the thing. This is where she said the quiet part out loud. When she says that's why President Trump was elected, it's because that's the quiet part. That's we're becoming the minority. Latinos or the Hispanic community is surpassing us in the amount of people that are living in this country. Like I told y'all earlier, they mentioned by 2030, white people are going to start becoming a minority because a lot of them aren't having children. It just came out, and Eyewitness News, I think, did this segment the other. I think Ebro Lauren Rosenberg played this clip, I think, on their show yesterday, which was stated at Eyewitness News. They had this clip where they were talking about that, for the first time, white people have been surpassed where you put black people, well, they say African Americans. I'm like, I was not born in Africa, so I don't like the whole African American thing. Charlize Theron is an African American, somebody who was born and raised in Africa and came over to America. That makes you an African American. But everybody wants to do the PC shit. We black. So when you talk about black people, Latinos, and Asians combined, they have surpassed white people in regards of populating the country because they're having children. White people aren't having kids, probably because kids is expensive. The other communities don't care. They just gonna be out here fucking. We'll figure out how to take care of them babies later on. But right now, we just gonna have them. That's basically the motto of urban folk or people of color. So when she went and said that's why President Trump was elected, she said the quiet part out loud. That was one of the things I realized too when it came to those representatives that's going out there trying to file this lawsuit against Bad Bunny. They were saying all the things, they were using coded language, but they couldn't come out and just say what it really was, which is all of it is rooted in racism. A lot of why they're putting all these things forth is rooted in racism. Megyn's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna just say it. And I'm glad you said it because you saying the things that you finally proved my point by saying what you said and thinking that people was going to be so caught up in the outrage of what you said about Bad Bunny that we was going to pay attention to the little things you threw up in there once I picked it apart. But I guess because I watched this video so damn much, I was well aware of it. But here's the thing. I want to give a shout out to Andy Signor, who does Popcorn Planet, because he posted something under that video as a reminder of, since you want to sit up here and talk about what's American, first of all, everything in this fucking country was colonized from somewhere, including the United States. Football evolved from rugby. and comes from England. Apple pie is from England. Fried chicken is from Scotland and West Africa. English is from England. Christianity is from the Middle East. And the whole rant basically about Bad Bunny being too divisive as a turning point, Kid Rock and Trump are unifiers. Like, get the fuck out of here. This bitch is a moron. And that's what you have to do. Unfortunately, the way you get at them, you got to combat them with more education. And then they'll try to come with the clapbacks, but you got to be slick with the mouth too. So when you get the likes of this Claren, and that's with 3Ks, when you get people like her that want to say the things that they say, you got to come with the education, but you also got to come with the roast and gags because they always be thinking they going to get over. It's like, I don't know, bitch. You can't get over on me because this mouth is a little too slick. So, and she ain't ready for this jelly. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story of what this airbrain Megyn Kelly had to say? Child, the funny thing I said the other day when I read this article, I said, where's Roger Ailes when you need him? And if you know that story, you know what I mean. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Full camera mode. Absolutely. Going off the hand. And had the nerve to throw black people there. I said, they ain't did nothing to you. Black people, Muslims, she was just trying to throw whatever at the wall to make it stick. Whoever played, wasn't it, wait, who did play her? Was it Charlize Theron? Funny enough, and I brought her up in the conversation. Whoever played her in that movie years ago must be regretting it. It might be, wait, let me check. So now you're going to have me Google Schmoogle. Who played Megyn, wait, in Bombshell? Charlize Theron, like I said. That's why I was like, that's who played her. Well, she probably do regret it now. Of course she wasn't. That's what I said. It's all a grift at the end of the day. Fried chicken. No, she didn't say, yes, she did. When I said that, I was like, child, I know y'all about to be mad. I want y'all to be just as pissed as when I first watched it. No, she didn't say fried chicken. Not her bland chicken. Her chicken probably ain't even fried all the way through. She probably ate some tainted bird. And you know she ain't cooking it. Heard about it, but I am so over her. I don't care what that broad has to say. Tainted bird. You know, yeah, because you know they meat be still pink on the inside. But I heard that she had a problem with it. It's like, girl, you just mad because nobody asked your behind. Just like you ain't never gonna be able to put out an album, and you ain't never gonna be able to. Well, I guess she could tour, unless Jay-Z got control of Live Nation. Be like, don't y'all book this bitch. Let her use her own money, and see if the barbs will keep her afloat. All right, y'all. So now let's move on because I'm over all this fake outrage regarding Benito. But let's get into more mess. Let's talk about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. So apparently they arrived in New York today because, you know, there's this big court case surrounding the whole "it ends with us" controversy. I just hope that they wrap this thing up because I'm just like, I'm over it. This is a waste of time and money on both their ends. But she started it. So so they were photographed, and it's funny, they're matching in color. I wonder, like, was this like a kismet sort of situation, like a universe being like, well, y'all kind of need to wear beige, fluorescent beige, bleach, I'm black. So Lively 38 arrived by herself at the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York on Wednesday, February 11th, wearing a pale green. Okay, so it's kind of green. Oh, yeah, it is kind of green. I was talking about some beige. Apparently, I'm colorblind. So it's like, what is it? Where am I? Oh, so it's a pale green suit and sweater. Baldoni, who's 42, appeared on the settlement conference holding hands with his wife, Emily Baldoni. The pair's conference will be overseen by U.S. Magistrate Judge Sarah L. Cave. Now, Lively and Baldoni's settlement conference is a standard procedure in federal civil litigation. Conferences for this nature are intended to determine whether a case can be resolved without going to trial. Judge Lyman, who is presiding over the case, has not yet ruled on Baldoni's pending summary judgment motion. The "It Ends With Us" co-star's legal dispute dates back to December of 2024, when Lively filed a lawsuit against Baldoni, who also directed the film, alleging sexual harassment and retaliation. The director has denied the allegations and later filed a $400 million countersuit, which has since been dismissed. Lively has alleged she lost $161 million in a result of what she describes as a retaliatory smear campaign. A trial is set for May 18th. Well, here's the thing. She's talking about she lost money. Girl, you about to lose more money because you're going to trial over something stupid. Like, this is just dumb to me. Now, ahead of the conference, people spoke with legal expert Gregory Dahl, a partner at Dahl, Amir, and Ellie in Los Angeles, and explained what typically happens during a settlement conference and what the possible outcomes could be. He's not representing either party, by the way. Now, Dahl told people that he would expect the conference to last a full day, though he noted there is no limitation to how long a conference for this nature may last. Dahl also shared that any and all statements made by either party during the settlement conference are 100% confidential and cannot be used at trial if a settlement is not achieved. Asked how common it is for cases to settle against at this stage, he said, magistrates pride themselves on settling cases, and by this point in time, the parties are often getting apprehensive about the trial, tired of paying legal bills, and want to make a deal. Well, I actually hope that they come to a deal regarding all of this, because I definitely feel like it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. We've been hearing all these little things. Yes, we all learned that Taylor Swift is a mean girl, which I could have told you that. We didn't need a bunch of goddamn text messages coming between her and Blake, Ku Klux Khaleesi, for us to even know that there was some sinister vibes regarding her, because she had sent some apologies from what I heard to Justin and all this other stuff. And there was other things that was coming out too. So Rob Shutter, or I think it's Shutter Shooter. We'll go with Shooter. So yeah, so he went and posted this. He said Travis Kelce never liked Ryan Reynolds, which I'm not surprised, because Ryan Reynolds comes across as one of those phonies. He always kind of gives me that with the way he overachieves on the red carpet and some of the stuff that he said. So yeah, so the article said, let's get one thing straight. Travis Kelce has never liked Ryan Reynolds, not from the beginning, not even a little. Sources tell Naughty But Nice that the Kansas City Chiefs star has long felt uneasy around Reynolds, finding him too polished, too performative, and far too comfortable playing the charming guy in every room. Now, that's probably the word I was looking for, performative, because it definitely gives well, I say phony, but yeah, same shit, performative. Like, you always got to come in the room, song, dance, tap dance, all that shit. You know who used to do that too? That I was like, okay, you doing too much. I always kind of felt that from Will Smith too. Like, he comes across as too performative. Like, you feel like every time you walk in a room, you got to be the song and dance man. You got to wow and pizzazz everybody. It's like, just be yourself. You ain't got to do all that extra shit, because you be acting like you Deadpool in real life, or you a comedian. Or don't get me wrong, I definitely feel like there's some roles people were born to play. Ryan Reynolds was definitely born to play Deadpool, just like I believe Jason Momoa was born to play Lobo. So everybody has their roles. So they wanted to say Travis doesn't trust him. He thinks Ryan's always on, and that rubs him the wrong way. The discovery became impossible to ignore during double dates with Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. Insiders say Travis actively disliked the setup. He hated the double dating. He felt like it was all optics and no authenticity. Now, while Reynolds leaned into jokes and charm, Travis clocked as calculated, saying Travis is blunt and real, Ryan is curated. That contrast never worked. Well, yeah, I guess when you very Hollywood, even though he's Canadian, that's kind of like the energy that you're going to put on. Now, according to sources, Travis quietly tolerated the situation for Taylor's sake, but he never warmed to Reynolds and never let his guard down. So he kept his distance emotionally. He didn't trust him enough to relax. As time went on, Travis became more vocal privately about wanting fewer shared social moments, saying he didn't want forced hangouts or performative friendships. He wanted real people, real energy. The result, fewer double dates, more separation, and clear boundary drawn. Saying that he doesn't fake it. If he doesn't like you, he won't play along. Oh, that's kind of like how I am too. He doesn't like being around fake ass people. But then again, I'm like, what you see in Taylor? Because I don't get real from her. Now, last but certainly not least, Rob Shutter not only posted that, but he posted this one. So they basically was given like the root of Blake and Justin's relationship, and said that it got a little too friendly in situations. And that's kind of got me wondering, because remember, there was always stories that Blake liked to hunch her co-stars, because once upon a time when I believe that Blake did The Town with Ben Affleck, there was rumors floating around. I think he was with Jennifer Lopez at the time. That it might have been Jennifer Garner. It was one of them damn Jens. So around that time, he was allegedly fornicating with Blake. That's the rumor. So he said before lawyers, lawsuits, and leaked exhibits took over the headlines, insiders say Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's relationship began on a much cozier note than anyone realized, and that early closeness is now being quietly re-examined. With Blake's private voice memo to Justin now unsealed in court, sources tell Nutty But Nice that what's raising eyebrows isn't just what she said, but how comfortable it all sounded. They weren't just co-stars, they were very friendly. Some would say too friendly. Now, in the February 2023 voice memo, Blake explicitly tells Baldoni she's speaking to him as a friend more than anything, sharing deeply personal stress about postpartum exhaustion, marriage strain, and her desire to keep certain conversations private. That level of emotional openness early on blurred lines, especially in a professional power dynamic. At the time, insiders say the tone felt warm, trusting, and informal, a stark contrast to the icy silence that followed during the film's promotion. There was a comfort there that later became part of the problem, one source notes. Once things went sour, everyone started recessing what should and shouldn't have been shared. Now, sources close to the production say the relationship evolved quickly from collaborative to complicated, with shifting expectation on both sides. They were texting, voice noting, checking in, not inappropriate, but intimate. Well, would intimate kind of be inappropriate? Especially when you're kind of being more intimate with your co-star, when you have she has a husband and he has a wife. When trust breaks in that kind of setup, it gets messy fast. And I get it, like when you're acting and you're going to be performing with someone, there is a certain amount of trust that you have with that person when you're coming together and that sort of thing. So you don't want to get so caught up in a situation where you're bypassing, the thing. So I feel like there maybe in the beginning there should have been boundaries put in place when you're going to be with a co-star in a film, and I don't think the boundaries were there because there was a certain amount of trust that y'all had with each other. So it's like once those lines was blurred, I don't know where I stand on stuff. Now you sit there and saying I'm being inappropriate, I'm being this, I'm being that, but the way we was coming at each other is like, well, where is the line? That's why I say in the beginning y'all need to set a line and be like, this is the line you cannot cross. You can't be a little too cozy with people and then all of a sudden you feel like, okay, I went too far and now we're filing lawsuits. So I'm hoping at the end of the day with all of this that they come to some sort of conclusion. They actually decide to settle this, because going to court, taking this to trial is going to get messy. A lot of things are going to come out that you don't want coming out. And I feel like if Blake, if you want to salvage what's little or left of your career, I would settle in this point. I mean, bad enough you got a lot of you put a nasty taste in a lot of people's mouths, especially in the nasty mouth. I mean, the nasty taste in people's mouths is the court of public opinion. I ain't even talking about the courts, but mostly the consensus is a lot of people ain't really feeling you out here, sis. So if you want to salvage and kind of rehabilitate what's left of your career, what I would do is I would settle. So hopefully that's what happens. And in the meantime, what I will do is I will definitely keep you guys abreast of this story as it develops. So in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from you all. What do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right. So let me close for this. These thingamajiggies. See what the people are saying. Notice she wasn't asked for the Trailer Park USA event. What I said is true as they posted the numbers. Well, these people are alert. Don't even waste your energy. These people are allergic to anything factual or the truth. What I said is true as they posted the numbers. The Super Bowl halftime broke records while the Tapussy, you spelled it wrong, it's TPUSSY, didn't even pull in half the numbers that Bad Bunny did, because it's nothing but pussies that worked there and performed. He said Bad Bunny halftime, 128 million watchers. TPUSA halftime, less than 6 million. That's not even a fourth of, well, not even less than 6. Well, it is kind of less than 6 million, because the reality is they said the research was done. It was bots that they were using to cook the numbers, to make it look like more people were watching than they were. And the people in the audience were paid. But they tried to pay people. And they had like 200 people in the audience to make it look like it was a lot of people. So it's all a grift. It's all stunts and shows. I mean, and then it was talking, some people were talking about, yeah, they were trying to even sell merch. So it's supposed to be this big event and you're supposed to be unifying, but you out here yet again trying to tug on the heartstrings of the racists and all the bigots and all the people that just walk around just hating the world because it's changing and they can't keep up, or they just refuse to accept that the world is evolving. And so they're just gonna, and then you allow that hatred to be that you get conned and taken advantage of. But if that's what you want to do, be my guest. All right, y'all. Now, speaking of hate and vitriol, let's get into Kanye, because a lot of his hate and vitriol for the past has caused him from actually making money in the United States. Because word on the street is he's been banned from performing in the United States, so he can't even tour here. So Rob Shutter basically posted on his Substack the following. Now, despite rumors that Kanye simply doesn't want to tour, Insider says the truth is far harsher. He can't. Now, sources tell Naughty But Nice, well, he did perform in India, so they probably paid him a good amount of money over there. Naughty But Nice that Kanye is effectively locked out of touring in the United States thanks to decisions made by two companies that control the live music market, AEG and Live Nation. And here's the thing, this is why I say I don't like monopolizing stuff where they did it with the radio programming. They're doing it with touring, with Live Nation, AEG. Now it looks like they're trying to monopolize the movie studios, where Paramount's still going after Warner Brothers. So I don't like this whole idea that only two companies control all of the touring in the world. So they basically said you can't tour around them. They control the venues, the promotion, the infrastructure. If both say no, that's it. And they have said no. Now, Kanye hasn't mounted a proper tour since 2016, and sources say there is currently no path back, even with the new album slated for March. It's not that he doesn't want to tour, he's not being allowed to. The financial fallout is enormous. This is costing him millions, tens of millions. Touring is where the real money is now. Now, while Kanye's team has floated overseas options, insiders say even international touring becomes complicated without support from the U.S. power brokers. The blacklist follows you. For now, the album may drop, but the stage lights won't turn on. So, unfortunately, it just seems like, yeah, Kanye is not allowed to tour, and it's sad. And I know he's running around trying to rehabilitate his image. Like, he came out with that apology regarding the whole anti-Semitism, and then kind of gave like a little soft apology to black people. Even though he started out with the whole thing years ago, George Bush doesn't care about black people, then went on this whole rant and said slavery was a choice. So with all the things that he said over the years, and remember, he's apologized before over anti-Semitism, and then went back and went on a whole rant, came out with a song about Hitler, which you saw them idiots, them GOPers like Nick Fuentes and all of them going out to the club in a limo together, one big sausage factory up in their plant, like going off on that song, and then had the DJ play it at the club, where everybody was looking like, are you dumb? Like, what is wrong with y'all? Because they need attention. So I just feel like no matter how much apologizing this guy does, there's no coming back from this. I don't know how he plans on making money, because I don't know anybody who's still out here repping Kanye like they used to. I mean, once upon a time, I was a Kanye fan. I liked a lot of the music. I liked a lot of that backpack type of vibe that he was going on. It just seemed like, yes, definitely, like I feel like he was what he could have been if he would have kept it up and not been a damn lunatic. Like that nerd rap like we get from people like J. Cole or Tyler the Creator could have been in that sort of vibe, but you done fucked up. And like Jill Zarin, you done fucked up, and now you finding out because it's going to affect your wallet. and it's affecting your wallet in a way of like the music and all that stuff. So I don't know what you're going to do. You can put the music and stuff out there, and people can listen to it on whatever platform. I don't even know if Spotify is putting. Does Spotify and Apple Music even post his new music up on their website? I mean, on their streaming platforms. I don't know because I don't really listen to Kanye like that. I like his old stuff, but ever since he started going these little rants and saying all this crazy stuff about different marginalized communities, I just can't be bothered with him and the music. And in the midst of Fix a Flat, Nicki Minaj keep it up with her foolishness. She gonna be in the same house as him, where AEG and Live Nation gonna be like, bitch, figure out how you gonna make your money because we not repping you. You can't come over here and play ball with us. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Kanye apparently not allowed to tour the United States? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Dude so darn hard. Kanye is a puppet of the Jews, and he can't do a puppet of the Jews. First of all, he said a lot of anti-Semitic stuff, and don't sit up here and act like I'm cooking for Jews because that's the one thing I'm not doing. I've already called out, and there's differences of I don't lump everybody in one big sum. The people over there with Israel and the Zionism and all the other stuff. Oh, y'all already know how I feel about that. So, and there is something crazy about talking shit about people. So it ain't got nothing to do with because then a certain group of people aren't friendly to black people, so we gotta go and reciprocate the same energy. To so many hip hop heads, he already has surpassed that vibe. He definitely already cemented into one of the greats of the genre. Yeah, he definitely is one of the greats, but it's like, but look what you did to get like you just lost it. He said, I never willingly play Kanye, might let it play if it comes on the radio, depending on the song. Okay, well, that's your opinion. All right, so let's move on to some more stuff. And let's talk about Demi Lovato because she running around here talking about she canceled some dates on her tour. And I'm sitting like, ma'am, you didn't even have that many dates on this upcoming tour to be canceling. So I am confusion as to why you decided all of a sudden to just cancel a couple of dates on the tour. So let's get into it because I thought she canceled the whole damn thing. But then upon reading, it's only 5 dates. So she canceled 5 shows and pushed back the start of the upcoming tour in support of It's Not That Deep after realizing she overextended what may be possible when it comes to her. It was 23 dates she was doing. So she cut out 5 of them. I'm like, girl, 23 days? You can't do that? Like, no, look, if you have issues with mental health and you got a lot of stuff going on, I'm not sitting there making fun of that, but I'm just like 23 shows? That's not a lot. I could understand if you did like 160 shows. Then I'm like, okay, now you're doing too much. And that might be a lot on your psyche. Or just spread them out and pace yourself. But then again, we got to realize that Demi's got a lot of issues going on. So she's just not your average person that could just, put your big girl panties on, get some thick skin, and just, you know, truck on through the trenches. So they said it will now kick off in Orlando on April 13th. Previously planned stops in Nashville, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Denver, and Charlotte, North Carolina have been canceled. Saying, "My Lovotics, I am so excited to get back on stage this year and visit you in as many cities as I can." This is what she wrote on Instagram yesterday morning. That would be Tuesday. While starting to prepare for the tour, I realized that I have overextended what may be possible. To protect my health and ensure that I can give you all my all at each show, I need to build in more time to rest and rehearse and ultimately adjust to a schedule with some more time off that would allow me to handle the entire run of the tour. Well, I would have been like, why don't you just move those dates down later? If you can't, if it's a lot, Why don't you just shuffle it? Why don't you just move Nashville, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Denver, and Charlotte down to a later date? You don't have to start off with all of them. Or is it that those dates just weren't selling? Is that what it is? Because I'm starting to think that maybe those tickets wasn't selling, and that's why you removed those dates. So now, addressing fans in the city that have been removed from the tour, she said, I am so sad to say I will no longer be able to see you on this tour, and I am so sorry to those who plan to be there. Those who purchased tickets through Ticketmaster and AXS will be issued refunds automatically, while those who bought tickets on a third-party reseller website like StubHub, SeatGeek, and Vivid Seats will need to contact the vendor to request a refund. Now, Lovato announced the It's Not That Deep tour back in October to accompany her ninth studio album, which she described as a return to her electronic pop roots. Accompanying her on the road would be Adele, who Lovato called an absolute star that is going to blow your mind. So yeah, it starts off at Orlando, Florida. So April 13th, she has a date. Then it goes to April 16th at Washington, D.C. It's almost like every other day or every 2 days. So she spread it out. Philly, she's in April 18th, April 20th, Toronto, April 22nd, Boston, April 24th, New York at Madison Square Garden, April 27th, Columbus, Ohio, April 29th, Detroit, Michigan, May 1st, Chicago, May 2nd, Minneapolis, and then she closes out Houston, Texas. So she's doing 3 parts of Texas. She's doing Dallas, Texas on May 22nd, May 24th, she's doing Austin, and then she closes out Houston on the 25th of May. So she don't got that many dates. Let me see how many dates she got left. So about 18. She got 18 dates on the tour now. I'm like, you gonna be able to make enough money doing those? But I guess I was like 18 dates, that's enough. But like I said, I'm wondering if maybe the reason why she ain't doing those dates is because she didn't they didn't sell. The tickets didn't sell. I need y'all to do some sleuthing so we can find out if that's the case. But anyway, if it is a mental health thing, Demi, feel better. Figure out, like, I guess, figure out, because I know, look, performing on stage and doing all that stuff, it is a lot. It's a lot on your body. It's a lot that you have to deal with. So, it takes its toll. So I totally get it. But I'm just like, but still at the same time, I'm just like, it's not that many dates. Just like you said, it's not that deep. It's not that many dates. So I say all this to say, what do you guys believe in regards to what was the reason why she canceled this 5 dates of the tour? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now let's move on and let's talk about Britney. So I'm sure you already heard by now that Britney has sold her iconic music catalog for a nine-figure deal, which they said is stemming to be about $200 million in the same ballpark as Justin Bieber. Which I was confused when I heard this because I was like, wait a minute. A lot of Britney's biggest hits, didn't Max Martin write a lot of those songs? I'm like, what exactly is she selling? But it says it in the article, so let's get into it. So, and shout out to Variety. So it said Britney Spears has sold her catalog, her song catalog, and an unclear number of other rights to Primary Wave, 2 sources confirmed to Variety. Reps for both Spears and Primary Wave declined Variety's request for comment. The news was first reported by TMZ. Now, details were unclear and likely under ironclad non-disclosure agreements, but TMZ said that the landmark deal was estimated to be in the same ballpark as the $200 million check Justin Bieber received when he sold his catalog in 2022. It seems safe to assume that Spears' artist royalties and publishing rights were included in the deal. The TMZ report, which is based on legal documents the publication says it has viewed, states that she sold her ownership share of her catalog to Primary Wave. It notes that the price was not included in the legal documents. Now, Sony Music owns and controls the rights to Spears' entire recorded music catalog, so it seems like she sold the rights to her artist royalties. She has songwriting credits on nearly 40 of the songs in her catalog, although few of them were major hits, apart from the ballad Every Time and fan favorites like Me Against the Music, S&M, Work Bitch, and others. And as I was going to say, because I was saying, they said few of them were major hits. And what people need to realize, like, when you hear Baby One More Time, Oops, I Did It Again, sometimes, like a lot of the earlier songs from the Baby One More Time album and the Oops, I Did It Again album, and I even think her third album, which was called Britney, right? So a lot of her earlier stuff, that was written by Max Martin. So Max Martin got a lot of the bulk of her biggest hits because she didn't write those songs. So, like they said before, is that a lot of this is coming from um her artist royalties and publishing. So it seems like that Spears' NIL rights, and that would be her name and likeness, were included in the deal unless it was for exponentially more than the price TMZ speculates. There are any number of options for exploitation of the catalog, including a forthcoming biopic based on her memoir, The Woman in Me. Well, we still don't know what's going on with that movie, which landed at Universal Pictures in 2024, a jukebox musical based on her hits, Once Upon a One More Time, premiered on Broadway in 2023. Spears has not released an album since 2016's Glory, so it's been 10 years, and has not performed in concert since October of 2018, closing out her Piece of Me tour with the final show at the Formula One Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. She has been scheduled to return to Las Vegas in 2019 for a second residency, Domination, following the success of her first residency, Britney Spears' Piece of Me, which concluded in 2017. However, she ultimately postponed the Domination tour, or its Domination show, and stepped away from performing indefinitely. She was released from her 13-year conservatorship in 2021 and kept a low profile, except when she on Instagram twirling, in them Gerber baby panties and them crop tops and barefoot and flicking around knives and shit like she's Katana in Mortal Kombat. So, and then she also recently said she'll never perform in the US again because for, extremely sensitive reasons. But she said she put a rose in her head and a hair in a bun if her son decided to get up there and strum, on his pain with his fingers. So, um, this just feels sad to me because I'm just like, yeah, it feels like it puts a final nail in the coffin that, yeah, Britney's not coming back to music. This literally looks like a desperate attempt because she's bleeding through a lot of her money and she has no income coming in. So everything's going out, but nothing's coming in. And at some point, it's like, okay, so you sold this, so they can just do whatever they want with your money, with your music and your likeness and all this other stuff. And it's like, but do you get money from it? Yeah, you got $200 million allegedly. But it's like, once that runs out, then what? Like, are you actually going to get up out there when you flat broke and you're going to get up there and actually be like, okay, I'm ready to do a residency. I need to bring in some money. And you got to start doing your stretches and get back in the groove of dancing again. So how you going to make money? Because you're not out here working. It's not like you're not Rihanna, where it's like Rihanna don't need to rely on the music and all the other stuff. She's got Fenty Beauty. She's got all the other things that she has going on. So she has stuff coming in. She doesn't have to do music. You're not doing anything. So that's kind of got me wondering. And it's just sad because I understand Britney's been through so much and she's been taken advantage of, and that conservatorship really screwed her up. But I just wish that she could find a way to come out of the other end victorious and really just triumph and do the comeback that she deserves. But she's been so abused by this industry. But I just think she doesn't want anything to do with it, because you can't sit and tell me, like, the way the media treated her and the way that she was treated in this business, especially when you had a lot of the adults in the background who propped up Britney to be like this sex pot at a very young age with the schoolgirl outfits in the Baby One More Time video, and how y'all was sexualizing her at such a young age when you had these nasty ass old perverts oogling and drooling over her. Then you got people out here like Kid Rock making derogatory comments about the Olsen twins when they were like tweens or whatever, making sexual comments about them and talking about how he like them underage and all this other mess, which we overlooked back in the day because we wasn't paying attention to none of that. We was all young. And I didn't see anything problematic about what Britney was doing, but about how the industry was treating her and the way they had her dressed and made her breasts look bigger than they actually were. Like, it's funny how I look back on this and I remember all of this, but then when you look back on it, you realize, yeah, a lot of that, the way y'all was trying to prop her up and dressing her and having her out here as a pop act, which is why y'all called her manufactured. But this is just her going along with how they wanted her to look in certain ways. A lot of it was problematic on the adults' part, and y'all should have known better. So, good luck to you, Britney. Hope the salvation of your music catalog was worth it. So, I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the latest on Britney selling her iconic music catalog for a 9-figure deal? They won't disclose how much of it is, but people think it's in the ballpark of what Justin Bieber accumulated from his other thing. And I do wonder this, speaking of Justin Bieber, his catalog, him selling that catalog, he still gets to keep the rights to swag, because this was all before he came out with swag. I'm wondering if swag has anything to do with any of the monetary situations, or is that like anything that comes from that, this album, the new album, he benefits from that. That's not a part of the old whoever he sold his stuff to. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. And look on, and damn near was dying as she was doing. This lady almost died, was in the ICU, came out, and still did 80 shows. There's no excuse with a lot of y'all. And she's way older than Demi Lovato. But yeah, oh, my mental health, I could only do 18 shows. I'm like, girl, get off my line with this foolishness, because it's like Olivia Rodrigo, Taylor Swift, all these. I mean, look, Taylor Swift took breaks between doing her Eras tour, so y'all need to kind of take a page out of that and do that. Even Perez Hilton called her out on it and said she wouldn't want to admit it's because. Well, so there it is. Because I was like, it's probably low ticket sales. She's not selling in those spots. And here's what I said about it: she should have did like Robin. Robin's only doing a handful of dates in the U.S. For her upcoming album, she's only doing a handful. She's doing, off the top of my head, I believe of course she's doing New York. She's doing the Barclays Center, which I'm upset about, because I would have loved to have had that come to the Garden. But we are so booked with shows this year, we don't have space. Sorry. So Robin, your album came out at the wrong time. So we got a lot of shows happening. Especially it's because she comes in September, and Harry Styles, I believe, is already going to be in the midst of his residency, so it's going to be impossible for her to squeeze a date in. But anyway, so we have yeah, I'm thinking it had to be low tickets, because I'm like, what? The 5 dates wasn't selling. Like, I don't think there's a lot of Demi Lovato fans in North Carolina that's going to come out and see her. New York, you'll definitely get those fans, because New York is huge. So everybody will come out from all over the place. There'll be people that come in on Amtrak from probably Connecticut or Jersey or Long Island, even from the 5 boroughs. So they'll come in and see her. So that's not gonna be an issue to sell out Madison Square Garden. But yeah, Robin's only doing a handful of days. She's doing Canada, she's doing New York, she's doing LA. I believe she's doing Chicago and Vegas. She's like doing 6 or 7 dates. You could have did that. I mean, yes, some people are, but damn, you can't sell out. Look, there's certain artists that can only do certain areas. If you do more of the red state conservative areas, they're not going to put up with someone who is kind of like the type of music that they do, or that they have like a large queer fan base, or whatever the case is. So they got to go to a lot of the blue state areas, or maybe you could toe the line in those certain ones. So, and that's what she's giving. So yeah, I'm thinking like it had to be low sales. 23 shows is typical for indie bands, really, girl. And all she's going to do is stand there with the mic in her hand and let the dancers do all the work. Yeah, that's why I said, you know what I'm starting to think? Look, I'm having my Tyra moment. I be rooting for her. For you. Like, I be rooting for this broad, and every time you just disappoint. It's almost like you sabotage. She's a self-saboteur. Speaking of which, when is that Tyra thing coming out? Is it this week? Speaking of which, speaking of which, I gotta watch UK versus the World because it came out yesterday, and I was like, wait, don't it come out on Tuesday? But it was so much going on. I got home late. I was not in the mood to just watch TV or whatever. I would have fell right asleep as soon as I put it on. Because the Knicks went to overtime, and that game was a mess. Is she gonna work at? Should do an ad for Walmart and then make some money there. Kind of like Drake, I heard is doing ads for McDonald's in Canada. Should do something like that. This felt like a stab to my heart. I've come to the acceptance that old girl will probably never release BS9, and that's okay. She will always be in my top 3. Yeah, we all want the biopic. What's going on with the biopic? Justin Lin keeps making comments about it, but wait, it's Justin Lin, right? The one that who's the director that did Wicked? I think it's Justin Lin. Yeah. He would keep saying that they're working on it or whatever. Then I keep hearing Britney doesn't want it to happen. But I'm like, sis, you already sold the rights. It's happening, whether you want it to happen or not. And now that she don't own the music, they could do whatever they want. All right, y'all. So now, okay. So we could just do this one real quick. Let's give a huge congratulations, I guess, to Alyssa Farah Griffin over at The View because Miss Mamas went into labor. Now, funny enough, this week, I believe Friday was supposed to be her last day before she went on maternity leave. But Miss Thing went into labor yesterday, which is why she wasn't on the show. And they had Anna Navarro fill in. And they announced today on The View that Alyssa welcomed a baby boy that she named after her husband. So Whoopi Goldberg opened Wednesday's episode by announcing that co-host Alyssa Farah Griffin had given birth to a baby boy, saying, the first thing we want to do is start by congratulating Alyssa and her husband, Justin, on the birth of their baby boy, Justin Patrick Griffin Jr. He weighed in at 7 pounds and is 19 and a half inches. The baby's height and weight took the audience and co-host Joy Behar by surprise. Yeah, Goldberg agreed. Both mom and baby are doing well. I'm sure they're tired, but they're doing well. And Joy Behar is always surprised because she don't pay attention to what I don't even think she even know where she is anymore. Now, Behar is in response asked why The View didn't have any confetti on hand to celebrate the happy news. In response, Sarah Haynes quit, "We didn't push babies out. She did." Okay, that's funny. But I'm like, oh no, not you throwing that little shade at your bestie. But here's the thing. This ain't when Rosie O'Donnell was back in the show. Because remember, when Rosie O'Donnell was on The View, she had to, because she did that around the time when Britney and K-Fed were divorcing. Remember that video? You could look it up on social media. And then she set off the confetti. That was something that she took for the Rosie O'Donnell show and brought over there to The View. And that would have been cool to have that, but Sarah, you were shady for that, but that's funny. And they said, we were here for it, though, Behar contended, to which Goldberg replied, well, confetti her when she comes back. We'll just throw it because, once it goes into your hair, it's there for years. Now, Goldberg announced during Tuesday's episode that Griffin would not be joining her co-host at the Hot Topics table because she had gone into labor, saying, I don't know if you saw the show yesterday, but it turned out Alyssa was right about Bad Bunny's halftime show putting her into labor. Oh, yeah, she did make a joke about that. And then all of a sudden she goes into labor. And then it's like, it put her into labor. She's at the hospital right now. We are wishing her the best as she waits for her baby boy to arrive. Behar also joked on the episode that Griffin and her husband, whom she married in 2021, should name she's so stupid, should name their child Bunny in honor of the Grammy-winning Puerto Rican superstar. I was like, maybe we should call him Bunny as a nickname. Now, I have a cousin named Bunny. This is a girl. We all got nicknames and aliases for family members. Now, Griffin revealed that she and her husband were expecting their first child in October, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, look, I know she was struggling to have a child. I'm glad that she's finally making her dream come true. Probably was IVF and all that stuff because, Sonny had her kids with IVF too. And it's not easy to be out here pushing out a baby naturally. So it's a good thing we got science, even though they're trying to eliminate all kinds of science with this idiotic administration, but and other things. But congratulations to her. Glad that she had her baby. And yeah, I don't agree with what she says politically, but kudos to her over there. And look, another bundle of joy added to the family over at The View. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story about this news that Whoopi, Alyssa Farah Griffin gave birth to a baby boy that she named after her husband, Justin. So just don't be like Justin Timberlake, that douche. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I know you don't particularly care for Alyssa, but if I like it, not you talking about if I like it, you'll love it. Joy Behar is always surprised because she don't pay attention. Yes, she don't. And that's why I said, I'm like, I don't even think she even knows what she is anymore. But I've been noticing, I'm like, ma'am, are you not paying attention when they be talking? Because she'll say something and I'm like, they literally just said that like a second ago. But maybe she spaces out or something. I don't think she knows where she is anymore. That was so funny to me. Oh yeah, you caught the shade. All right. Okay, y'all. So let's get some more mess. Let's talk about Orville Peck. So him and Chaperone are the latest celebrities to drop their agency because they were part of the Wasserman agency because CEO Casey Wasserman apparently appears in the Epstein files. So once that news came out, and this is why I tell you that one thing about Jeffrey Epstein was cozying up to a lot of very powerful people, whether they were in Hollywood, so agents, publicists, people who were producers. He also was very cozy with the CIA, MI6. He was cozy with a lot of really powerful politicians. And now with the Epstein files, a lot of the European politicians, their feet are being held to the fire. A lot of them are being held accountable for some of the stuff that they've been, that have been coming out of the Epstein files. But in America, oh no, everybody's getting away with it for now because of who's in power. But overseas, these leaders and things of that of people of that nature are being are they're losing their status. They even was going after Prince, what was it, Prince Andrew? We all knew he was a mess, but when all that stuff was coming out about him, he's definitely swimming upstream without a paddle. So Lovato Plus musicians, including Chappella Rwanda and Orville Peck, are cutting ties with the Wasserman Music Talent Agency after its founder, Casey Wasserman's emails with convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell, who just recently did a deposition and kept pleading the fifth, and basically put it out there that she'll basically say Trump didn't have nothing to do with whatever, even though we all saw his name appears more times in you know his name appears. I'm probably gonna go to hell for this. His name appears more times in the Epstein files than Jesus' name in the damn Bible. So when you got something like that, people don't want to hear it. And now this broad is out here talking about that if they get her out of jail, she'll go and say, "Oh, Trump didn't have nothing. Trump's on the Epstein files. He ain't had nothing to do with what's going on." I'm like, "Oh, so we openly just saying this mess when you're already in a minimum security prison with a damn dog and could do whatever the hell you want." But now she want more. Now she want to be out of prison, and that's why I said this is why she is where she is. She's being protected because as long as them lips stay quiet, because if they kill her too, then it's gonna be. Or if she ends up dead too, because they already did the little shenanigan with Epstein. If they do the same thing to her, then people will be like, "Wait a minute, now how did Epstein die in jail? Now she died. Something in the milk ain't clean." So they can't do the same. They can't replicate the same stunt more than once. Because then the people will catch on. Even the most dumbest person will catch on. So South African country musician Orville Peck announced in a post on his Instagram on Tuesday, that'll be February 10th, that he is no longer represented by the Wasserman Talent Agency. He wrote, "In light of recent findings regarding Casey Wasserman, I have made the decision to no longer be represented by the Wasserman Talent Agency. My heartfelt thanks goes out to my personal team, some of whom I have respected, trusted, and worked with for close to a decade. I leave with a huge amount of compassion for the rest of the agents and staff at the agency who are being left with a situation that impacts all of our work and livelihoods." His announcement comes on the heels of Chaperone's announcement, because she's the one that went about it first, on February 9th, that she had parted ways with the Wasserman Agency over founder and CEO Casey Wasserman's appearance in files related to Jeffrey Epstein released by the U.S. Department of Justice. Wasserman has faced criticism for flirtatious email exchanges with convicted sex trafficker and former romantic partner of Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, more than 20 years ago. Wasserman has denied having personal or business relationships with Epstein. Now, in a statement shared with the Daily Mail, Wasserman says he regrets the exchanges with Maxwell and noted they took place before her crimes came to light. Say, I deeply regret my condolences. My correspondence with Ghislaine Maxwell, which took place over 2 decades ago, long before her horrific crimes came to light. I never had a personal or business relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, as is well documented. I went on a humanitarian trip as part of a delegation with the Clinton Foundation in 2002 on the Epstein plane. But when y'all went on that humanitarian trip, what was going on? That's what we want to know. So you went on the Epstein plane, you didn't interact with Jeffrey Epstein, only Ghislaine Maxwell, and you expect us to believe that? Sir, in the words of Cher, who do you think you're fooling? Who do you think you're fooling? You know how she sing that's how she sing the song. Going to hell for that one. Now, so yeah, now they said that blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't even think I read Chaperone's post. She said, as of today, I'm no longer represented by Wasserman, the talent agency led by Casey Wasserman. I hold my teams to the highest standards and have a duty to protect them as well. This is what she wrote in her Instagram stories on February 9th. No artist, agent, or employee should ever be expected to defend or overlook actions that conflict so deeply with our own moral values. I have deep respect and appreciation for the agents and staff who work tirelessly for their artists, and I refuse to passively stand by. Now, as you'll know, Roan, who has championed for better health insurance and treatment of artists during her 2025 Grammy speech, added on Monday's announcement that the artists deserve better representation that aligns with their values and supports their safety and dignity. The musician ended her note by saying that decision reflects my belief that meaningful change in our industry requires accountability and leadership that earns trust. Well, every now and again, Chapel get on my damn nerves, all that bitching she be doing. But in this thing, you know what? I'm glad that you actually showing that you stand for something, because as I always say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So at least she got some kind of tipping breaking point and some kind of, line that she would be like, okay, now you done crossed that line. I can't mess with somebody that has been in something that is very detrimental to many children and women, because there was a lot of trafficking of children from a lot of foreign underprivileged countries where why was in the Epstein file there was gallons upon gallons of sulfuric acid ordered, which means that there was people getting put in that shit to get rid of evidence, people getting children getting impregnated, and during wild kinky sessions being killed, or I should say, sorry, unalived. There's a lot of crazy stuff with the Epstein file. I'm not saying this man was involved in any of that, but if you was up there going on some planes, about it was a humanitarian trip, but you were on the Epstein plane when there's other planes you could have taken, knowing full on well how this man is, and all the stuff that was coming out. But back in the day, everybody was looking the other way. Then it's like, I can't trust that that's all that was going on between y'all, because just because it wasn't put in the Epstein file don't mean you wasn't involved in some mess. That's off the record. So good on people like Chaperone and Orville standing up and being like, I can't be a part of this charade that they found. Hopefully you'll find another agency that y'all can go to that fits in within your standards, your practices, and your values. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. Just don't be like Justin Timberlake. I don't know how you ended up here. You just did. Well, welcome to the show. You said the top model documentary comes out next week. Also, I saw a video where a girl said Britney Give Me More is featured in a McDonald's ad in Canada. Well, it probably is. Oh, yeah, he is in there. There's a lot of There was another person that I remember Kyle Kalinske was somebody. He was like that was his mentor of somebody, a Democrat, whatever, progressive, and he was like he's one of my mentors, and I looked up to him, and I had him on the show, and then he's in the Epstein files, and he was like, yeah, that hurt me, and all this other stuff. So it was like, yeah, like some people who look the other way. If somebody that we admire or somebody who said all the right things ends up in Epstein files or whatever for any kind of wrongdoing, we call them out. I don't sit and look the other way, regardless of the side. Everybody gets it. It's just some people don't know how to be, how to do that. They were like, oh, they moved the goalpost when it's one of their faves. Now who in the hell is an Orville? Well, you saw the picture of him. He's a openly homosexual country singer. No, I did not see that, but I know he was struggling a little bit to pay his medical bills or whatever because a lot of the chemo and all that other stuff that he was going through. He had to start selling a lot of his memorabilia, like from Dawson's Creek and I believe Varsity Blues. Like he was selling his stuff to try to pay for the stuff, which goes to show that we need universal health care in this country. The fact that people have to literally go broke or die to be able to pay for any kind of health treatment is just atrocious in this country. Whereas other countries are a lot happier because they get universal health care. They don't have to break the bank or go broke or end up having to unalive themselves because they can't afford to pay the bills or for some expensive ass medical procedure. Oh, I guess a few of his friends helped get it started also. It could be. Homosexual. Yeah, that's what we call it. We don't call them gays, they're homosexuals up on this show. But anyway, where we going? Hold on. All right, we got 4 more topics left till we are done with today's show. So before we get to those top 4 or final 4, if you please do me a solid, if you have not already, hit that like button, smash the notification bell, hit the subscribe. Definitely helps with the algorithm. So for all the new people that's coming in, if you want to catch more of the shenanigans and the mess of this show, it definitely helps us to show out so more eyes can get on it. Because I can see a lot of eyes that's currently watching. And how y'all doing? So yeah, so and then also if you want to become members, we definitely have memberships, all that good stuff. So but please hit the like, the subscribe, and the notification. It does help more people discover this crazy show called Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Now without further ado, let's get into some more homosexual news. Let's talk about Heated Rivalry. So, since the show's been off the air, because they only had a 6-episode season, the numbers have pretty much been growing in regards of how many people have been tuning into Heated Rivalry. And so, I think Forbes had this information. Oh no, I got it from the Rap, but I know it was a lot of places that was talking about it. So, shout out to the Rap, by the way. So yeah, they're continuing to grow in viewership more than a month after the conclusion of its first season. So I guess with all the hype and everything that was going around, a lot of people weren't on board for the beginning. Like with me, I will say this: when it comes to these type of shows, I don't like when the Heartstoppers and all the other shows that was coming out. I didn't really jump or Boots. I didn't really jump on those shows because I kind of felt like I wasn't the demographic. Like I didn't care, and I felt like I couldn't relate to a lot of those type of shows. So I didn't really watch them, and then they ended up getting canceled. But Heated Rivalry, there was something, I don't know, it was something about it. I think it was the sport hockey, but I do work in the Garden, so I'm working a lot of Ranger games. So when I'm watching that, I was like, okay, I'm familiar with hockey because I work the venue and I get to watch the games and I get to see how everything works and that sort of thing. So there was a relatability there. Then it was the gay angle. And I was like, oh, we got something with sports and closet homosexuals and all this other stuff. This will be interesting. And then I started hearing before the show blew up, all the sex that was on the show. I was like, oh, they hunching too? Unapologetically? Oh, let me give this show a gander. And the minute I watched it, I was like, okay, this show was good. And so I'm glad I got to slide up in there and watch the show before it became this big phenomenon like Beatlemania or something like that, or how these kids be going crazy for these K-pop performers. So since then, now that the show was over, and there's been so much hype because you seeing these kids everywhere. Connor Story and Hudson Williams are everywhere. They're doing the torch lighting at the Olympics, and they're walking in Fashion Week and sitting front row at Fashion Week, and they're just everywhere right now. So they're like rock stars, even though they're actors. So since then, with all the hype, I guess it's got more people to tune into the show. And so they said that, yeah, that the show over on HBO Max, it's surpassing 10.6 million viewers in the US to date. In a rare streaming viewership update for HBO Max, the streamers shared that Heat of Rivalry has maintained its spot as the most watched scripted acquired series in HBO Max history, thanks to continued buzz generating residual viewers 2 months after the rollout. Well, its rollout. Now, HBO Max touted that viewership of the series saw a consistent week-over-week growth throughout its debut run, with the finale delivering more than 4 times the audience of the premiere week. But even more impressive is that viewership has more than doubled since the finale, which debuted on December 26th. So now, while Heat of Rivalry has undeniably dominated the cultural conversation over the course of the past 2 months, the series also has yet to show up in Nielsen's top 10 streaming list as of the week of January 5th. Since Heat of Rivalry is an acquired show from Crave, the series is competing against streaming juggernauts like Bluey, not a children's show, Bluey, Grey's Anatomy, Bob's Burgers, and Law and Order, among others. Heat of Rivalry premiered its first episode on November 28th and rolled out its 6th episode season through December 26th. By December 12th, Crave renewed Heat of Rivalry for a second season, which will stream on HBO Max in the US and additional markets. I think if I'm not mistaken, also, I did hear that the UK also just acquired Heat of Rivalry. And I don't know if it's out yet, but I know they're finally going to be able to see what we've been witnessing over here in the US and Canada. So they said, watching our show become an international phenomenon has been extraordinary. Show creator Jacob Tierney and executive producer Brendan Brady said in a joint statement, we're profoundly grateful to everyone that has been on this journey with us. Being renewed for a second season so early is a true honor, and we can't wait to bring you even more of what you love. Well, I can't wait for y'all to do that. Hopefully y'all get more episodes. It won't be 6. Maybe I can go up to 8 or 10, so that way you can tell the story. And plus, they have a new book in the series coming out in September. So it'll be, I think, 7 books total. So they can stretch this out to be a long-lasting season. That's if y'all continue to show that y'all want this show to last. And I have to say, one of the casting directors also said this before I forget. She was like that what she hopes with this show is that y'all will continue to go out and hire complete unknowns, because nobody knew who Connor Story and Hudson Williams was before they became famous. And I think that's what you go for. She was like, I want people to go and continue to search for unknown actors to put into these type of shows, and don't do this thing that I've heard actors complain about, which is y'all want to hire social media influencers and people who are popular on Instagram or whatever the case is as stunt casting to get people's eyes on your show. And what people need to realize is, just because you could accumulate a lot of eyes on as being an influencer or whatever the case is, doesn't mean you could translate that into a TV show or movie, unless you're Markiplier, where you came out with Iron Lung and your audience alone, because you got millions of followers, you brought them to the movies and your movie became a hit, which is like $30 million that movies gross over $3 million budgeted movie. So that's a rarity. But for the most part, it's like, yeah, bring people in old school where it's like they got that chemistry. There's something there where they're like good actors and they actually put in the work and they've trained and they've got the chops and the talent, rather than just trying to do this whole Instagram stunt casting, because that's not going to get eyes on the show. And also, what I'm hoping is that we get more shows like Heat of Rivalry, in the sense of real queer-centered stories where people are unapologetically themselves or dealing with type of internal struggle, and then also a lot of sex. Because if y'all sit here trying to shy away from the fact that the sexual and the homosexual, we need to cut that out. I don't know who told y'all that, but if y'all don't want to watch same-sex couples hunching, then don't watch. But we shouldn't have to suppress a part of ourselves because certain groups of people are uncomfortable. And from so far, it seemed like a lot of people are quite comfortable watching this show. Even some of the people you wouldn't think were watching, would watch Heat of Rivalry were watching. So shout out to y'all. Continued success, and I'm looking forward to season 2 whenever y'all get around to shooting and airing that. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are regarding heated rivalry, let me know in the comments down below. Those two boys are really pretty together. Well, look, a lot of people think so, but apparently Connor's story allegedly might be out here hunching Francois RNO, which got the fans all upset. It was like, no, we like y'all together. And I'm like, but yeah, they got good connection in the show, but maybe the connection's not there in the bedroom in real life. The goal for the band to be GoFundMe is $350K. Well, hopefully they'll be able to do it because I guess they feel like they can't even afford to take care of the funeral expenses and stuff. And it's sad that, yeah, this goes to show this side of Hollywood where you think that these celebrities out here got all this money and they don't. They've been spending a lot of that money probably on his treatments. It's still growing. I guess I better start watching. But you never seen it? I liked it. It said I should support media representation like this because the amount of complaining from my Latinos about the first shot of two. Oh, wait, about the first. Oh, they did that? Child. They was over there complaining. Oh, please. That's why Bad Bunny did it because he knew he was going to rile y'all up. But Bad Bunny has always been a staunch supporter of the LGBTQ plus community. And not only that, but he had Ricky Martin up there. Ricky Martin is about as gay as they come. Where was the outrage over that? But I guess because y'all overlooked that. Because Ricky Martin wasn't being sexy. He was just sitting in a chair singing about Hawaii. But whatever. Them people that was complaining can get over it. All right, y'all. So now let's move on. And let's talk about Kim Petras because apparently Kim Petras has a new single out, but you wouldn't know it because, and it's called Pop Sound, but you wouldn't know it because it's not available to listen to on Spotify or Apple Music. So she has a new EP coming out. I'm like, I didn't even know it was an EP. I thought it was going to be a full-fledged album, but no, it's an EP. And the EP is called Detour, with the pop starlet confirming in a recent video that she will be dropping a song a week for the next 4 weeks for free. So I do have that video because I wanted. She was kind of annoying me with the vocal fry because I'm like, is that how she really told her you putting it on? So yeah, I have the clip of that, courtesy of the Twitter, and we'll come back and talk. Please hold.
Hey y'all. Sorry. Hey y'all. So I have an update / surprise for you. I'm super excited about, and it's called Pre-Tour. And basically, for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be dropping a song every week, bitch. And I'm so excited for you to hear these songs. I made them with my favorite people, with Microwave Excess, The Frost Children, Porches, Night Feelings, BC Kingdom, and basically because the conversation with the label is still happening, I don't have a release date for my album yet. But obviously, as soon as I have that, I'll drop the album. But I just wanted to make the next 4 weeks really, really fun. And we made some visuals for these songs together that I definitely like zero budget, like bullshit visuals, but they're also like art and everything, obviously. So you're going to be obsessed. And I'm obsessed. And it's so tea. So get into Pre-Tour. So yes, you are going to be getting a song a week for 4 weeks for free. So don't like complain or say shit because whatever. So like I don't want to hear y'all saying shit because you're getting 4 songs in 4 weeks.
All right, I'm pretty much saying that she said enough. Why is she giving me Ivanka Trump tease with her whole look? I don't want to hear shit that you're not going to get music and you're complaining. Like it's giving very that. And it's like, ma'am, what is that vocal fry? But anyway, so yeah, apparently the music, I did hear the song. I thought it was okay. It's not, people were talking about, oh, it's a bop, it's whatever. I'm like, girl, it sounds like your generic EDM, Charlie XCX, hyper pop type sound. I've heard better come from Kim, and it's no shade. I'm just saying just wasn't because I was expecting the beat to go somewhere and it really didn't go anywhere for me. Vocally, I like how she said it kind of has like that signature auto-tune-y type of Kim Petras sound. There was elements of the song that I was liking. It felt like the beat was gonna build to go somewhere, but it never really reaches that that peak that I wanted to go. Kind of like when you go up the roller coaster and it goes down. Like it didn't give. It's like, oh, I'm about to, the heart pound. I'm getting heart palpitations and it's going up and the anticipation. And once it goes down, that thing, I'm like, that was it. Like my heart didn't drop out my ass when we went and did the dive with the roller coaster. It didn't give me that. So it didn't really hit me where I feel like it needed to hit me. So who knows? Maybe I need to hear the rest of these songs. But if she continues to drop these and I listen to them, like I'm starting to think like, A, Universal might have been right about this record, and or B, the fact of the matter is y'all over there being shady and y'all trying to keep this girl locked up in this contract that she doesn't want to be caught up in. So yeah, if you do want to hear pop sound, you can definitely listen to it over on YouTube or SoundCloud. But yeah, so Spotify, Apple Music, it doesn't have it. And then we talked about like last month how she revealed that she had formally requested to be dropped by her record label, Republic Records, an offshoot of the Universal Music Group. She explained that she was tired of having no control over her own life and career and wished to be, to self-fund her own music. She said, my album has been done for 6 months, but my record label has refused to give me a release date to pay my collaborators for the work that they've done. And then it was stated that Pink News, which I got the story from, contacted Universal Music for comment at the time, but did not receive a response. Pink News has now contacted the corporation for comment on whether the pop sound would be released on major streaming platforms. After publicly venting her frustrations, she was supported by artists including Grimes and Kesha. And then I did play the video where just recently, and then she said in that video also that she confirmed that conversations with her label is still happening, but she doesn't have a release date. So um I do like the idea of her doing something different where she could release one song each week. I think that's actually a really cool idea that she's doing something like that, where she's like, you know what, I'm gonna just release a new song every week and see how y'all feel about it. But I wonder if those 4 songs are going to be on the EP, because then I feel like by the time the damn EP come out, that I ain't gonna be excited for the album no more. So I don't know if I would want to just listen to 4 songs come out and then they'll be like, oh, that's the EP. Unless there's other songs that you worked on that it might be too expensive to kind of put it all as an album. So I'm gonna just release them as individual singles, which I think is kind of genius. And then I like the no budget music video thing, because she did kind of do. I did see, if you go into YouTube, you do see like the little no budget video that she did to the song. That's cute. I kind of like that's the direction people are going into. If you don't have money to put a video together, just go on a roof somewhere and just twirl around in your cute little outfits and lip sync to your song, and they can stitch it together, make a video out of it. So hopefully she's gonna, she'll be able to get out of this messy contract. It's just unfortunate when the queer artists have to go through the headaches that they have to go through when you're signed to a major label. Which I keep telling y'all really don't belong. Y'all don't really need to be on a major label. Go independent, or if you can't afford to do the whole self-funding thing, do small labels. Like at one point, Robin was doing putting out her own music, but I know it got really expensive. Now she's a part of an indie label called Young. They're helping back her music and all this other stuff. There was another artist that was, I forget his name. There was a singer that's part of the XX. He's also on Young Records, openly queer artist. And I think that should be the thing, that go into small independent labels. Even Shy Girl said this, and y'all was dragging her over because it's like, oh, y'all were trying to come for Kim. I don't think she was trying to come for Kim. She was just talking about how this industry is just ruthless, and how major labels treat artists. And so the best bet I would say is, I don't know if you want to fully go independent because you don't want to bleed yourself dry. Just go to just go to a small little indie label. Have them give you a tiny little budget, whatever, and you just make lemons out of lemonade. That's the one thing about being queer. The fact that even if we don't have the biggest budget in the world, we can make it look like we can give y'all a full-on Beyonce production on a Kelly Rowland budget. I had to come up with somebody. So, excuse me. I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts on this whole matter about competitors. Have you heard the new single? What do you think of the new song? And also, um, this whole situation, what's going on with her record label and the fact that she can't put music on Apple Music and Spotify, because that's that gatekeeping shit, like Live Nation, where we was talking about earlier, where Kanye can't even perform his music here in the United States, like tour. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, so Pop Sound popped on my recommendation feed an hour after it dropped, and it was a rare case of love at first listen. I'm obsessed. Woke up this morning listening to it and can't go on. He said, I saw someone on Reddit compare it to 2008 2010 Rihanna, which I didn't think of. It reminds me so much of something Charlie would have dropped 6 or 7 years ago. Well, it's like she's doing what Charlie did eons ago. He said, I guess the one song a week tactic is a test to see if she can actually generate enough support for the label to take a chance on her. I wish Pop Sound made it on the actual album. Well, I hope so, because it's like, yeah, it's like y'all don't even believe in the artists. And my thing is, if you're going to sign queer artists, y'all got to definitely put as much energy behind them as you do your major other artists. These other artists that y'all like to put smoke behind. I don't even know who's on Republic anymore. Isn't Ariana Grande on there? So I'm like, if you're going to put as much energy behind Ariana Grande, you got to do that with Kim. I wonder how that last tour of hers did. I think she should have did small venues. I don't think she should have did big venues, because I did hear that she struggled to sell tickets on that tour. What was it? The Feed the Beast era? She did a tour during that era. But anyway, let's get back into the show. And let's talk about T.S. Madison. So I don't know if y'all heard, but T.S. Madison filed a lawsuit against this person that goes by the name of Dio Whisperer. And Dio Whisperer, based on the ways I've been following this person, I've heard little things about him here and there. But yeah, he's been hella problematic. And the people, of course, there were people out there that was on Dio Whisperer's side, because they was like, oh, she filed this lawsuit because he been putting her business out there. And also, I'm like, the people who gonna hate on Maddie are just gonna hate because she's a black trans woman, and y'all got a lot of that transphobic stuff that y'all put up in there regardless. So people are always gonna come out and say the things that they're saying. And it was weird that I'm sitting there reading gay magazine comments on Facebook, because it's not on their Instagram page. Like, most of the people over there got some sense, but I'm reading the Facebook page. I'm like, y'all up in here saying all this crazy stuff on a site that is about queer entertainment and media. And y'all be really up in there just saying all kinds of crazy. So it just be crazy to me how they just be up in here saying this foolishness. But Maddie did an interview with Out, and so we're gonna break down this whole lawsuit. So yeah, this person who goes by Naquan Palmer, she had to file a lawsuit against him because they had ended up, from what I heard, drive 2 hours from where they was at to Maddie's house. And I think it's the original house that she had, which she's turned into like this sanctuary for trans women in need. So she had turned her old mansion into this place for like the trans community to come and live and get their life together and that sort of thing. And then she got another mansion that she currently resides at. And this person ended up at her house. How you drive 2 hours from where you at to somebody else's place to come up on neighbor? Like, you got to be out your freaking mind. Some mental shit has got to be going on with you that you would be doing that. And then you surprise over a lawsuit. And the smart thing that Maddie did was file a lawsuit. Because if it was anybody else, your ass would have got pow-powed on site. Because, there's license to carry areas depending on where you are. And what you got to realize is she did the smart thing, because when you are a public figure, when all of this is a LLC and you a brand and a business, you can't be going around here putting paws on people or pulling out a weapon and pow-powing people because they're on your property. Because they look for any reason when you a public figure, and of course a bigger name than this person who's out here clout chasing, or whose sole career is about, or the sole point of their existence is to expose people on the DL and make transphobic comments, which he has done. You're looking for a moment. And I think a lot of times when these people get so seduced by social media and only thing they care about is algorithm hustling, they get so seduced and brainwashed, and they get so caught up in the endorphins of that that y'all don't be thinking about the consequences to your actions because you feeding that internet beast and those people out there who salivate at the mouth at this foolishness because it gets their endorphins going, or those people who you're satisfying their hate for other members of the community. So this boy already comes from a place, in my opinion, of just self-hatred. So let's just get into the story. So I had to set all that up before I get into the story. So T.S. Madison is obtaining a restraining order against content creator who filmed himself driving to her Georgia home while shouting threats of violence, according to Madison in court documents. The court order against Naquan Palmer, also known as the DL Whisperer, comes after months of online commentary that devolved from verbal abuse online to in-person stalking, Madison says. In an exclusive interview with Out, Madison describes the escalating threats as terrifying, exhausting, and emblematic of the particular vulnerability Black trans women face when visibility collides with unchecked hostility. Palmer strongly denies these allegations, he said in a statement to Out. Saying, well, it sounds like this something he was saying. This is so dumb. Madison says early. She said that. She's like, this is so dumb. Madison says early in the conversation about the situation. Frustration already bubbling over. This kind of shit is dumb and a waste of time. In her telling, what began as white noise quickly metastasized. My God, I'm sitting there struggling with this word. Metastasized, I gotta say it slow, into something else entirely. Madison traces the origin of the situation on June 5th, 2025, the day her now viral interview with Nene Leakes was released, and the entirety of the planet shook, she recalls. During the exchange, the Real Housewives of Atlanta alum stated that men who date trans women aren't straight, with Madison challenging that notion. TMZ was reaching out. Everybody was reaching out. The interview was crazy. The interview ignited widespread commentary, think pieces, and reaction videos across platforms. Now, amid the noise, Madison noticed a man she had never encountered before on social media. I don't know who that gentleman is. I've never seen this man before, she recalled thinking at the time. Palmer had posted a response to Madison's video, replying to another content creator, the spiritual whistleblower. What's up with all these fucking names? The DO Whisperer, the spiritual whistleblower. What next? Who has made 2 videos following the Nene Leakes interview, claiming Madison was being a narcissist and a misogynist, but with a busy schedule, Madison did not engage with him directly. Madison Post and Gold says her friend Dominique Morgan. It was Morgan who first noticed how Palmer's content took a turn. As the DL Whisperer, he built his brand in a niche part of the social media world, providing insight into how down low or DL men navigate their double lives. But as Morgan asserts, his tune gradually changed. He slowly started to massage his rhetoric around trans women, specifically Black trans women, Dominique alleges. And when he wasn't really getting a response from his followers, with the average trans girl with 300 followers, it was Madison. And then when Madison did not respond to him, then it was Cherry. Rogers, a Black trans podcaster and personality, and then it was me. So that's what it is. And that's why I said internet hustling. That a lot of times they will run around here and I'm gonna go after, like, if I'm gonna come for somebody and if I'm gonna throw shade at somebody, I'm going after the big kahuna. So I'm gonna go after a T.S. Madison. And since she ain't engaging, because Maddie out here booked and busy. She's doing Drag Race. She's doing all these other events. She's doing Fag Talk with Craig. She's also traveling around the United States doing that show with him. And so I need to make a name for myself. I need to go viral. That's why I said these girls who out here seduced by the viral, that virality of it all, and got to keep the algorithm going and keep the notoriety going. Because all this thing of you sitting around here just exposing DL men, how long is that going to last? And then you just feed into the fact of these women that feed off of that shit. And now you out here causing harm against the queer community. It's like, these are the worst parts of the community that I can't stand. These people that run around here will be willing to tap dance and throw their own people under the bus for some damn clout. So, Madison, accustomed to public criticism, never responded, saying, "Girl, who gives a fuck about somebody having some shit to say about me?" She says that refusal to engage later became central to her survival strategy. And the first moment Madison realized the situation had crossed the line was not subtle. Madison alleges the content creator began posting threats to fight her. It was like, "Bitch, I want to fight you," she claims. "That's what made me notice it." Like, who the fuck is this? Madison annually hosts a Halloween party in October to celebrate her birthday, with her 2025 event being a mass party. Friends checked in with her prior to the celebration, as seeing posts from Palmer alleging he would attack her there. People started messaging me, and I was like, "Madison, please be careful, because this man is saying that he's about to come to your party and attack you." The threat was allegedly explicit, and he said, "Thank God it's a mass party, because I can come there and attack the bitch anytime I get ready." For Madison, this is no longer theoretical. Though she continued to ignore Palmer directly, behind the scenes, she mobilized. "I made a video explaining to the dolls to protect themselves," she said. "I said the dolls should be armed, because in this climate that we're in, no one is protecting us. We need to protect ourselves." And she's absolutely right, because the way this current administration is trying to use trans people as a scapegoat to what's going on in the world, when there's bigger fish that we need to be frying, like them Epstein files, um, trans people need to be out here carrying something. I don't encourage violence, but the way these people are trying to do harm to trans people, and the amount of trans people that end up unalived yearly that we talk about, it's dangerous out in these streets. So you got to protect yourself, because of the government and the media. I mean, the government, and I'm not even worried about the media. Well, the media need to do their job and expose this shit that's going on. But if the government and the police force and all this other stuff are not going to do their job, sometimes you got to take matters into your own hands to protect yourself. But she recalled the situation reached its most dangerous point in January 23rd, 2026. And he wound up posting on social media, "I think all trans people should be thrown into jail or euthanized." This is what he posted on January 23rd, 2026. Got 37 views. So that goes to show, like, okay, the 37 views from this picture that was screenshot, um, you still out here algorithm hustling, clout chasing, and you're just mad because you're not where someone like T.S. Madison is career wise or successful. But you don't get successful by invoking mess, or you can get there, but that shit's temporary. It's not gonna last forever. Every dog has its day. So she said the gentleman said that he was coming to my motherfucking house. Damn, this woman loved to curse. Madison recounts, her voice shifting. A video from what appears to be the DO Whisperer's backup account confirms the threat at the 13-minute mark. "He was going to beat me until I had an aneurysm, and he wanted to watch me take my last." So you really want to come out here and why do you hate trans women so much? This is what I wanted to say. It's because you mad because you can't be a woman? Is that why you mad? Because you want to transition, and you aren't able, you just hate this part of yourself, that of being a maggot. You hate being a black homosexual, that you feel like beating it out of the likes of a T.S. Madison or exposing these DL men is supposed to heal a part of yourself or make you feel grand in some sort. Like, I need to know. This is me getting in my Sigmund Freud analytical mode, or just me being a Virgo, because we love to analyze. So I just want to know the deep rootedness of why you are so filled with hate against people in your own community, especially you being a black faggot. I just want to know. Put me on, since you want a moment. So now in that clip, Palmer is seen live streaming a 2-hour drive from Gilmer County to DeKalb County, where Madison lives. A screen recording from that same date was provided to Out, showing the content creator screaming as he drives past her house, screaming out the window, telling his followers that he was going to beat me until the breath left my body. And that's another thing too. You drove 2 hours to yell out a goddamn window. Are you slow? There's something clearly special or mentally unstable about this little boy. Or this, well, he a grown-ass man, but yeah, something got to be wrong with you mentally. Now, despite the severity of the threats, Madison remained publicly silent. T.S. Madison ain't saying nothing, she explains, because I knew the moment that I breathed on it, it's going to become wildfire. Just because I'm in silence doesn't mean I don't know what's going on. And that's the best way you got to go about it. Because any little thing that Maddie says, y'all be trying to find she a man. Y'all always want to misgender her. You always want to come in with the transphobic stuff. We see it. So the ones that hate always got time to get on the internet with their transphobic bullshit. So best move in silence. Let the legal eagles take care of the stuff. He don't know nothing about that. But when you move different, when you playing in a different tax bracket as certain people, I ain't got time to be out here literally getting up in somebody's face and punching them in the throat. I let my lawyer deal with it, Mr. Bernstein, and yes, he gonna be Jewish. So now, then it said Madison describes meticulously compiling evidence, video, screenshots, timestamps. So he sat there and lied about all of it, right? But y'all do know when you post shit on social media, that's evidence. There's a trail. Follow the yellow brick road. And now she was on that yellow brick road and collected all her little evidence and let it stack up. Send it to her attorney, let them deal with it. And that's how she won the case. So you can sit up here and talk about lies and this, that, and the third to the cows come on, but dummy, you put it on social media. It's like a lot of y'all seem to forget that, yeah, that's evidence once it's public. So Madison describes meticulous compiling evidence, as I said, videos, screenshots, timestamps, and platform reports, which was shared, some of it was shared without. When she finally sought legal protection, the response was swift. On February 3rd, the Superior Court of Gilman County granted Madison a temporary protective order against Palmer. The judge was like, "Oh my God," Madison recalls. That was the judge's exact word. Additionally, Madison is seeking a criminal arrest warrant for stalking and terroristic threats and acts, according to legal papers shown out. The hearing is set for March. Now, Madison is pursuing criminal charges, as you should, lock his ass up and see how he like it in prison. The bitch wouldn't last 5 minutes because that booty gonna be looser than that song by Lucy LaDuca. Y'all know the song, Let Loose, I said let her loose. Now, Morgan received a similar protection order on February 10th and plans to file similar charges shortly. Meanwhile, Palmer is raising funds. Child, really? And I'm sure them transphobes and all those people that hate right along with you will be given the coins of the GoFundMe. So this is why I said, y'all be out here fucking around and now you're about to find out. So now you looking for help with people to give money to your GoFundMe. But you out here, you caused this mess. And now you want people to help you pay your legal fees? I don't give a fuck. Your ass can go broke for all I care. Somebody to support his legal fees and safe relocation. But were you thinking about that when you decided to drive 2 hours from where you lived to go harass her on her property? But you weren't about a safe relocation? Fuck out of here. Figure it out. Now, although GoFundMe prohibits fundraisers for the legal defense of financial and violent crimes, which means they need to take that shit down because that's exactly what you raise the money for. They said a spokesperson for GoFundMe responded, "The fundraiser remains within our terms of service at this time." Probably because they worded it a certain way, but that's why you're using the money. You try to cause a violent crime against another individual. So yeah, she said, if I was Gigi Gorgeous, he'd have been under the jail a long time ago. He could never pull up on no white girl like that. She insists the increasingly incendiary attack on her and others like her is rooted in dehumanization. They've stripped our humanity from us. Whatever we get, we deserve. So now I reached out to Palmer for a comment, and here's what he said, because we got to tell his side as well. Now, they said, due to the ongoing nature of this legal matter, I have to be mindful about discussing specific details publicly. I strongly deny the allegations made against me, and I'm prepared to present my evidence through the proper legal process. The situation has had a significant impact on both my personal life and my professional brand. Your professional brand is by outing people and exposing men in the closet. That's your brand? Okay. I also want to emphasize that I have experienced ongoing harassment and reputational harm, which will be addressed through the appropriate legal channels. Out of respect for the court process, my focus is on handling this matter legally rather than litigating it in the media. I appreciate your interest and will consider providing further comment once the case is resolved. Now, the alleged harassment against Madison is not an isolated incident. There's a growing hostility against trans people in the United States. From 2024 to 2025, GLAAD's alert desk tracked 932 anti-LGBTQ incidents, with nearly 52% of those incidents targeting trans and gender nonconforming individuals. Meanwhile, the Human Rights Campaign recorded 27 fatal attacks on trans individuals last year since they began recording in 2013. Excuse me, nearly 400 deaths have been recorded, with the majority being trans people of color. So there is an epidemic out here in the world of, trans people under attack, especially if you're a trans person of color. Those are the ones who are mostly taken out than our white counterparts. And excuse me, and I do agree with her where she basically said that people, if it was a white trans girl, if it was like Gigi Gorgeous, like they said, or Dylan Mulvaney or Kim Petras, he definitely would have been under the damn jail. But when it's a black trans woman, a lot of times, yes, they have been dehumanized, so you're not going to take any attack against them seriously. But the only way you're going to be able to do is that you got to take the law into your own hands. Now, some of the comments that was said on Gay Magazine, they said people are really putting their sanity to the side and risking their life and their freedom just to have a viral moment. Didn't I say that? Now I didn't even read these comments, and I said this is all for y'all clicks and likes, and y'all willing to put your life on the line for a viral moment because clearly your mommy and daddy didn't give you enough hugs in life, probably because they hated that your ass was a sissy and a punk. And so this is the only way you can get any kind of attention, by going after the very community that you should be trying to align yourself with and wanting to, and be an ally of, not trying to discriminate with. Maddie, do what you have to do. Pop, 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 pop off. Cynthia Lee Fontaine said, we need to talk about the fact that this is violence, is what trans individuals suffers, and also some leads into a horrible hate crime. This is unacceptable. I'm glad she has taken legal action. Another person said, weird sissy behavior. Stay blessed, Maddie. Another person said, going against your own community for clicks and likes, and they call them a loser. And one person said, the way she's saving his life doing this. Absolutely, because you don't know. Maddie's from Miami, and the Miami girls is different. The Miami girls and the gays, so they don't fight fair down there. So you better be glad that she is in a different tax bracket, that she's definitely on a different playing field when it comes to her celebrity status. Because if it was any other woman who wasn't like a Maddie, you probably been under 6 feet under by now. And that's no shade. I'm just saying. Y'all just be thinking this. Y'all just don't be thinking about the consequences of who y'all roll up on. Because these days you don't know who you gonna roll up on. And that's another thing too. Y'all be out here also thinking that these followers, these people that watch all of y'all friends, they will hype you up because they know your dumb ass is gonna go out there and do whatever. And then if you end up unalive, then what? Just like they was hyping that dude up, I forget his name, that was on some stream, and they was doing all kinds of torturous stuff to him, and then he ended up dying. Because I thought it was cute. Because it was entertaining. You got a lot of eyes on your show. You got a lot of viewers. You're getting all this attention. And then you end up dead. Then what? You can enjoy the fruits of the labor when you no longer in the union. So shout out to you, Maddie. I'm glad that you decided to take this on. And I'm glad we got to understand more behind it. That's why I didn't talk about it, because I didn't really know what the details was. I had heard little things. So thank you, Al, for putting that story together so we can go through it and give our overall opinion. And shout out to you, Maddie, because you gotta. While she is one of the biggest black trans women in the industry right now, like she has crossed over to the point where she's working with some of the biggest names in the industry. She still got to be careful on how she move out here, because a lot of y'all is crazy, and I think a lot of y'all be so thirsty for just a smidge of her success that y'all willing to put y'all lives on the line to get a piece of that. But how about you work as hard as she did to get where she is, instead of hating on her success or trying to clout chase? So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of this story, because they did say that she's trying to file criminal charges. It's still an ongoing case. So I'll definitely be keeping abreast of this story. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Obsessed with the entire Detour album. Every single has been an orgasm in my ears, and it's looking to be my favorite album of 2026. Well, I was going to say that if it comes out, sidebar, will be listening to the Wuthering Heights soundtrack. You know whose album I found boring? And it's no shade, but sir, I really need you to stop with the boring music. I was so bored listening to Nick Jonas' new album. That's probably why I just dropped and it came out in the middle of nowhere. He ain't got a couple of songs on there, but I'm like, this album is boring. And he said, why are the male pop stars so boring? I really need y'all to step y'all pussies up like the female singers. I definitely will be after finding out there's a Sky Ferreira feature and a Joe Keery co-write. During my Bigot days, my mother drove from Chicago to Minneapolis just to fight. Child. Only to get caught by the popo. I said, you out there doing stupidness. Don't be driving across state lines to fight somebody. Devon Smith said he don't like either of them. Ooh. Sure, you have your reasons. Oh damn! I didn't realize we was talking. This show went over 3 hours, but we've been doing 3 hour plus shows. But anyway, let me not keep you guys any longer because we got one more topic, one more homosexual news topic. Let's get in this mess going on with Stonewall. So I'm sure you already heard yesterday. Trump, I guess, is another way of trying to distract from the Epstein files. He decided to go and cause more irritation with another marginalized community because after, I guess, going after black folks and going after Latinos, now he want to go after the gays. So we had the Stonewall Pride flag removed, and then people removed it. But I'm like, how is that even a choice that he gets to make when, sir, you don't even live here? So Zoran, you being the mayor, you need to put that shit back up. So some local officials are pledging to restore the Stonewall National Monument's large pride flag after a Trump administration directive this week removed it from the only national park site dedicated to Levitical plus history. That's that little space that's in the, like the little triangular space in the middle. Like it's in the intersection of Stonewall on one side and the monsters on the other side. And I've actually hung on that part. And I've seen like drag queens come in there, they'll do little performances and stuff. It's cute. A lot of the older people sitting there, and I've sat in that little monument area. It's a nice little area to go, especially when it gets warm out in New York. So by the time dusk settled over, oh, shout out to Al because they did this story, over Christopher Park in New York City's Greenwich Village neighborhood on Tuesday, the narrow triangle of green across from the Stonewall Inn had become a small, loud common. Where it said become a small, loud commons. Rainbow flags were draped over shoulders, chants rose and fell between the park's statues. Attendees estimated that 500 to 750 people attended the protest against the National Park Service removal of the pride flag from the Stonewall National Monument, a memorial dedicated to the Levitical plus history. Jay Walker was 58, a longtime New York City resident and activist, organized the rally on short notice after word spread that the flag had been taken down. In an interview with The Advocate on Wednesday morning, Walker said that he had heard some elected officials were planning an action later in the week, but decided the community needed to respond immediately. I said, no, we need to do something in the community right now, he recalled. Walker said he went onto Canva, made a flyer, sent it out, and shared it through social media and community networks before noon. But early evening, the response snowballed. Within 6 hours, we've gotten about 500 people out into the park. The speed of the turnout, he added, showed that our community won't just stand for attacks against. Well, shit hits different in New York. We ain't gonna put up for that with that mess. Now, for Walker, the protest was never only about fabric on a pole. He described it as a defense of what he calls Stonewall's living history. The idea, that the monument is not merely a curated site, but a place still claimed and maintained by the community that made it historic. The rally, he said, was about us saying, no, we're not going to stand for this and getting our community out, he added. It's just the first. Walker also drew a line back in 1969, arguing that Stonewall's uprising itself followed years of constant micro and macro aggressions against queer people. Today, he said the response is faster and more organized, saying we don't wait for things to build up, we act immediately. The sense of accumulation of small changes added up for to something larger had been a constant in the debate over the monument since President asshole Trump took office for a second time. Last year, the National Park Service revised the public-facing Stonewall materials, including a website to remove references to trans people and change LGBTQ plus to LGB. An erasure that drew protests and condemnation from activists and Democratic lawmakers. Advocates have also criticized federal descriptions on the site from omitting bisexual and pansexual identities from the story of the uprising. Walker said those earlier edits are part of why this week's decision hit a nerve, saying they're going to keep doing these actions against our community and we're not going to take it lightly. The National Park Service has said the decision reflects longstanding federal rules limiting which flags may fly on NPS-managed flagpoles, with only narrow exceptions. Interior Department officials claim that Stonewall's history will continue to be interpreted through exhibits and programs. Walker disputes the reading of the policy that argues that Stonewall already fits within the exceptions. Saying, quote, the limited exception was made at the moment that the monument was dedicated as a national monument. The flagpole did not exist before it was made a national monument. The only reason the flagpole is there is to fly the rainbow flag. He added that the pride flag removed this week was not federal property, but one purchased and maintained by the park's volunteer caretaker, saying the Park Service clearly doesn't know the history of that particular designation. And it's because they hear Donald Trump says do this, and they all fucking act like a bunch of goddamn brain dead drones and just do whatever they're told instead of reading the fine. Like, can we do this? Can we remove this? And read the paperwork. Look at the research. Like, oh yeah, we took it down, sir, and then don't take the shit down. The man don't really check into what is being done, because if he did, then he would know that when J.D. Vance lied to him and basically say that they doing certain things, or Stephen Miller, they go against what he says on the low. So you could have just did that, because the man is so caught up in his own narcissism. He's not going to check to see if they remove the damn flag. Now, they said Christopher Park is small. Walker described it as having one sort of open sitting area that can only fit about 500 people, and it filled quickly, with others clustering along the entrances and spilling onto the sidewalks of 7th Avenue. As speakers prepared to begin, park rangers briefly attempted to close the gates, citing posted hours according to Walker. He starts saying, parks closing, Walker recalled. And I was like, no, it's not. He said community members pressed against the gates and chanted, whose park? Our park, until New York Police Department community affairs officers arrived and told organizers that the park is staying open and the rally could continue. Probably because Zoran sent them over there and was like, oh, excuse me. Not because Zoran already said keep it open. As you know, if it was Eric Adams, McGilla, gorilla looking ass, he would have been up in there and been like, close it. As we know what side he play on. But Zoran is for the people. So that's probably why he was like, no, leave it open. The ranger didn't apologize to anybody. He just reopened those gates and got the hell out of Dodge. He's like, yeah, I don't want them trying to whoop my ass, so let me move. Now, Walker praised the NYPD under Mayor Zoran Mamdani, who expressed outrage at the pride flag's removal. Oh, yeah, hold on a second, because I do have I had his statement in here too, with a picture and everything. You know, I like coming with pictures and things to give more artistic effect. So yeah, I'll put that there. And then they said, he was who expressed outrage at the pride flag's removal. Walker said that since the new mayor took office, the city has seen a marked shift, excuse me, in the NYPD's posture towards protesters. It's now Zoran's NYPD. It is amazing the difference we have seen in the NYPD and activist and advocacy setting since Mayor Zoran took office. It's like night and day. The word has clearly come down from the top that they're going to respect people's freedom to assembly and people's freedom of speech and not be antagonistic to people that are exercising those rights peacefully. And yeah, so now Zoran went and said this. on Trump's administration's removal of the pride flag. He said, "I am outraged by the removal of the rainbow pride flag from Stonewall National Monument. New York is the birthplace of the modern LGBTQ plus rights movement, and no act of erasure will ever change or silence that history. Our city has a duty not just to honor this legacy, but to live up to it. I will always fight for a New York City that invests in our LGBTQ plus community, defends their dignity, and protects every one of our neighbors without exception." So yeah, now let's get back into the story because I wanted to let y'all know what his statement was. So now by the end of the evening, the park had thinned, but the argument had not. Now across the street, the privately owned Stonewall Inn flags continued to ripple in the cold air. Elected officials and national advocates have increasingly joined the dispute. Representative Richie Torres, that sellout of New York, who is a homosexual, told the advocate through a spokesperson Tuesday evening that Stonewall is sacred ground and the pride flag belongs at the birthplace of the LGBTQ plus rights movement, adding that taking it down sends a message that the White House seeks to erase and minimize our history. We were saying, quote, "We will fight to protect the legacy of Stonewall and the community that made it possible." Now, city leaders have also weighed in. Baldoni has called the removal an act of erasure, and the New York City Council has formally urged the National Park Services to restore, or service, I should say, to restore the flag in a letter of Acting Director Jessica Bowron, Senate Minority Leader Chuck. Oh, he also spoke up and did something, so he's not busy out here tap dancing for APAC. He actually came for the gays. Or to the defense. Now, Leader Chuck Schumer has demanded the decision be reversed, and Representative Mark Takano, chair of the Congressional Equity Caucus, has argued the move reflects a broader federal agenda to curtail LGBTQ plus visibility. Advocacy groups, including GLAAD, the Human Rights Campaign, and the New Pride Agenda, described the episode as part of a pattern. Now, Walker placed Tuesday's rally in the broader arc during his Wednesday morning interview, arguing that what's happening at Stonewall is part of a wider effort to sanitize history at federal sites. Official, he says, are actively trying to erase our history, not only at Stonewall, but at places connected to Black, Indigenous, immigrant, queer, and trans histories. They're trying to erase anything that accurately conveys the history of struggle of marginalized communities in this country. So yeah, that's basically the whole point of like, yeah, what they're trying to do is Donald Trump doesn't want it's another distraction from the Epstein files. He just running around where he just wants to find another community to bully. And here's the thing, and this is why I'll say, like, similar when it comes to Black people, it's the same thing with the gays. Y'all can sit up here and try to remove every little aspect of our history when y'all was doing with Black history, and then you're trying to erase the Kennedy Center by trying to put your name on it when you'll never be as good or as iconic or as memorable as the Kennedys. So you can do all these things. But one of the things I will say about Black communities as well as the queer communities, we know we keep the history going. So you can take the flags down, you can do all the other stuff, but us going around and telling the next generation the stories of what we went through and what we endured. And that's what I do when I'm on this show. I will sit and tell y'all the historical things. Now, I wasn't around during Stonewall. I ain't that damn old. But I was around in New York City at peak club era. So in the 90s and the 2000s and that sort of thing, in the 2010s. I'll tell you all the stuff of the history that was going on with what it was like being queer in that era and passing that information down. So that's what we could do. We could use our social media platforms. We could use the Instagrams. You could use your little TikTok story time, whatever, to continue to keep the stories and the history alive. So you can continue to have your little moment of trying to erase all of our history. And that's just, but what we need to do is we got to be vigilant and we got to keep the history going. We got to continue to tell these stories and we got to keep using our platforms to be the soothsayers and to tell those stories. So fuck you, Donald Trump, tired ass, and leave the gays alone is all I'm going to say. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Because now they're trying to come down and mess with a historical monument such as Stonewall. Another ounce of foolishness because you trying to deflect from them Epstein files. But look, let's put Epstein name all over a damn flag and hang it in front of the White House. See how he like it. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So That was a lot. Right, y'all. It looks like we're at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Filtered. If you have not already, one last time, please hit that like button, notification, hit the subscribe, do all that good stuff, so that way you'll know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon. Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Apparently, I can't remember my own damn name, or maybe it is. I've been talking so much, I'm just tired of talking. So yeah, love you all for watching. We'll kiki again later this week. So, love you all. Love you all, your pretty faces. And until next time, ciao, darlings.